Hello, I'm DFW's own Danny Bayless, letting you know that you are about to hear a free podcast of The Dumb Zone. But if you'd like to subscribe at dumbzone.com, you will get 4 shows per week, plus the weekend wrap-up and any bonus epis like our Business Wednesday interviews. Oh, you'll also get our DZTV archives. Again, that's dumbzone.com to subscribe. Now, on to today's program.
The Dumb Zone.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz.org. That is where you can lease your next vehicle. Do a top market value for your trade-in. They can help you if you're in negative equity situations. It's Fair Lease. We've heard from a lot of people who have dealt with Fair Lease. Blake is working with them. Blake's going to have his new car delivered right to the studio to stun on them hoes, as he was telling me.
Yeah, Matthew said this was the place to drive the car through the front lobby, so it kind of checks out.
Yeah.
And he'll do it.
He'll do it. And what we need you to do is when you go to fairlease.org, click Request a Quote, then select the Dumb Zone on the How Did You Hear About Us tab, and you're off and running. Tell Danny that the Dumb Zone sent you at fairlease.org.
You've got the Kyrie thing hanging over you where you're not sure if he's going to continue. And then if you do, you have to pay him a lot. And that contract's going to be quite poor, by the way. Him staying for that contract is going to be quite poor value relative to what you're going to have to pay. So yeah, it's just bad. I mean, we don't even have to, anyone knows it's bad. Look, when the number one response to your trade is, oh my God, Shams was hacked, you know you made a bad trade.
Happy Business Wednesday. Pre-Valentine's Day Eve. Eve. I'm Dan McDowell.
I'm Jake Kemp.
I'm Blake Jones.
Along with Clayton. We broadcast live to tape and live to live from our downtown Dallas DZTV studios at Fox 4. We're at More 27. Like the studios at Fox 4, but our show is on More 27.
The studio is at KDFW.
Was hoping to get maybe a Super Bowl promo.
Yeah?
Watching the Super Bowl and
Maybe
every
you and
break.
I tossing a football up in slow motion.
They didn't give us that real estate. They gave that to Steve Eager
As always next year.
and Sean Rabb. Fox 4.
News.
Love Sean Rabb. Don't know him.
Who doesn't?
I see him every day.
I see him out there grinding on stories by a dumpster.
Every day. He's on the phone. Doing something. Got to get to the bottom of that.
Let's get Noviello in here.
Let's get Noviello in here. I want to, but
Play
things
Sean
just keep
Rabb,
happening.
gay not gay. Steve Noviello.
we got to get a regular thing going with Noviello. But our life is still turned upside down. I can't get a regular thing going. The Luka thing does not, I don't know. They say when someone dies or a terrible thing happens that it heals over time. I do not feel that. I feel like it just keeps getting worse and worse.
It would be like if, people compare it to, there's a lot of analogies going around. As you said, death, there's spousal comparisons. What it would be like, though, is if your lady left you for another man, and she left because you just couldn't stop being an asshole. Like, they didn't even want to leave. You broke up with them, immediately regretted it, but then you had to watch a tape of them having sex every day for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You want to get over it? Well, wait till the playoffs. Whenever Luka's out there in a playoff series. Wait till the next time he's in the conference finals. Wait till the next time he's in a finals. Probably going to happen a lot over the next 7 or 8 years. And every single time it happens, you're going to be sad about it. You're going to relive it, and there's still not going to be an explanation. And then, she's going to come, and you're going to be like, damn, I remember that used to be my deal.
Like the initial press conference with Pelinka and Luka was saying all these great things about the Mavs and, thanks for our partner and all this. But then later he's been giving quotes, and you read them, and it's like, this was a gift.
Like, I can't believe it. We have a 25-year-old mega superstar
Pull the Redick clip up, Clayton.
just about entering his, what,
I just want to play this for you guys.
J.J. Redick?
Yeah. He also, I saw the Pelinka quote where he said something like, here, pause it real quick, and I can set this up for you guys, where he said something like, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a more foundational piece you'd want to build with going forward than Luka Doncic.
Right, but he was not saying that when sitting there with Nico. He's like, I don't know, man. He is kind of out of shape. Don't know if we can give you both those first.
Yeah.
You know what else?
Don't tell it.
We're going to need a second.
Oh, okay.
Can you dig into your bag and find us a second? And
Yeah.
Nico's like, yeah, I'll do it. Man, you know what's going to be the worst of all? When Nico goes to work for the Lakers. Because he's now got a job for life. I swear, he's going to get fired or something, whatever, as he said in his press conference. I don't know if we'll be here in 4 years. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, you better effing not. I hope you're not here in 4 days or 4 minutes. But he will be hired by the Lakers, and he will be the assistant GM in charge of annual something, and you're going to curse it because he's going to make $1 million salary over there or whatever. You're going to see him sitting there with Pelinka, and then the NBA conspiracy theorists, like they have for decades, have been talking about the cold envelope with Patrick Ewing. You're going to be talking about they had this worked up, and they had to get a star to LA, and look at they all did it. And I don't.
Can I throw a little water on your nightmare here? I was going to say dream, but
it's not my no.
We're
living a nightmare.
You have to view Luka as the new LeBron, and I'm not saying they did everything LeBron wanted to do because LeBron wanted a center. You like that report? Those in the LeBron camp are upset that the
Okay.
Lakers didn't acquire a center.
LeBron looked so giddy playing the other night.
But then the second they get Luka, they go try to trade for Mark Williams. But whatever. My point is the Lakers are going to treat Luka like LeBron going forward, and Luka's not going to want to see Nico ever again for the rest of his life. So they're not going to bring Nico in.
That's interesting.
As much as I do think there's something there, I think the most likely thing is he just goes back to Nike.
Yeah.
Or starts his own. The point is he's never going to need any, he doesn't think he needs to get hired by another NBA team. Like take Dennis Lindsey, for example. Dennis Lindsey was a front office guy for a long time. Then he was the GM of the Jazz when he put that team together with Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. And then he got fired. So what he did was he came here and he worked very hard on things like the acquisition of Derrick Jones Jr. and I believe PJ and Gaff. But that's how you get back to being a GM. He's now the GM of the Pistons. That ain't Nico's path. You know what I mean? So I don't think that I think Luka legitimately has a hatred for Nico now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even if it's fake, he'll play off of it. You know what I mean? He's gonna.
Oh, it's not fake.
I was talking to our buddy Iztok this morning, and he's like, "Look, dude. I mean, he plays off anger. You think this is? He's always played off anger." And Iztok's point was that's kind of unsustainable, like from a emotional standpoint. And your hope is that as you get older, you no longer you're not just playing off anger. Like I bet Kyrie would tell you that. You can't be in FU mode all the time. It's just not healthy. So you have to figure out how to get away from that a little bit. But we're still very much in FU Luka mode, and I think Nico's at the top of the list. So this quick clip I wanted to play for you guys and just have you react to is J.J. Redick on the bench the other night, and the cameras caught him. This is just some guy at home filming his TV. And Redick is looking at the bench, and you can tell he's like, I cannot believe he's sitting over there. And he starts smiling, and then he goes, stop. Kind of how you have to do when you're
tell yourself to stop.
Yeah, like you're scheming on a lady, and you're like, holy shit, eyes up, stop. That's kind of what this looks like. Look at Redick.
Beaming.
Watch Redick. What?
He shook his head.
Stop.
Kind of looked over, saw him there, shook his head like,
This
he's
dude
here?
hates to smile. He done told himself to stop.
Yeah, he
Like
sees
he's here?
Luka. He's got a big
Like how?
ear-to-ear
How
grin
did
shaking
this
his head.
happen?
Like
This
how?
was-
And you know what he's thinking? He's thinking, I probably have a job for at least the next 5 years. Like to work this guy in, it's crazy. And that's another thing that I think Iztok wrote about this maybe. But he's like, man, watching the Redick post-game press conferences since they got Luka, he was watching everything. He's like, this is the coach Luka needs. Like he gets it. He's empathetic. Like he's new agey enough to where if a guy's going through a rough time, JJ Redick is like, I get it, and he knows how to connect with you, and he gets life. But also he's a basketball savant. Kid might be a basketball savant, but let's remember, this is a guy who went to anger management training because of all the problems he's had in his life relating to other people. So I think his talk is kind of on the, we should not let Kid off scot-free on all this. It's growing by the day, I feel like
and I've said that.
You did say that the other day. And I mean, at the beginning, I wasn't thinking about Kid at all. He looked shocked at the press conference, and he's playing dominoes on the plane with Luka, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we let some of their bungling moves make us think that Nico and Kid are not a package deal anymore. The whole signing Christian Wood and JaVale McGee and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But
now here's another coach who's just looking at like, I cannot believe we pulled this off, and this is the guy I get to coach.
And he loves big men, and he loves defense, and
God. Got to get that Cavs model down, baby. Take the nation by storm by limiting half-court offensive possessions. Oh, man. You guys want – here, while we're waiting on our guy, let's play this one too.
Yeah, we have a Haralabos coming out with us today.
The one with Dumont at the game, we had talked about this a little bit yesterday because TC was at the game and told me that, hey, man, Dumont and Sportsmayer got booed big time when they were headed back to their seats. And TC had an angle of it from behind them.
Sportsmare had that effing hat.
Oh, my God, dude. I can't handle it.
At least he learned where to sit, and I wouldn't think he's the biggest clown in a two-seat area.
Yeah, and I think it was McMahon who was putting forth the idea that was somehow like we're not moving the team, I'm here with the mayor, because nothing says committed and heart of Dallas like Eric Johnson.
Right, and loyalty to the party that he has sworn to.
Yeah, switch sides, changes teams every couple months.
Right.
But Fox 4 actually got a hold of a view from across, and you'll see Sports Mayor Dumont and Rick Welts, the team president, walking in as they're getting booed. So let's go that one real quick, and you guys can tell me what you think.
2 shots.
Shitting smile. Kid stops him. Don't know what that kid said, but he shook his hand. It looked like he was talking trash. Now they sit down. Okay, so I consider this to be art. Everybody is playing a perfect part. Here. Yeah, so Dumont sits down, and as he's sitting down, kind of has the "What's the countdown for?" where he goes, "Is that for me?" And before the second thing he says, which is, "Are they booing me?" I could not have written a more perfect response than Eric Johnson being the guy that would go, "No, no, no," and Rick Welts going, Yes. I am a professional who works in this world. I'm not going to bullshit you.
Yes, man.
I've been around the block for 40 years. We have a team to run. Yeah. Let me make sure you understand it's like this and it's going to be like this. Whereas Eric, don't even know much about the guy. But my perception of him is that
No.
They actually
he's a glad-hander.
Glad-handing, yes, man, stay on your good side, schmoozer. No. They're saying Dumont. This MFer actually sat down. Look, what is going on here? We must be in a challenge. There must be a call they're looking at that's going the wrong way.
Did you see the thing about the SMU game?
Got that one too if you want to play it. It's quick, but...
Oh, he was, I guess Nico was at an SMU game?
He was.
So they started up a Fire Nico chant?
Yeah. You can play it if you want, but it's quick. It's just, the kids, I'm proud of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time right now where
I
miss being able that I don't have a SMU speaking thing for Jamie Newberg's class right now. Because it's hard to get those kids fired up about much, but they would have been fired up about this. He can't go anywhere. That's just how it's going to be for now. I'll take it.
Could kind of hear that.
I'll take it. It's an SMU game. It might be 20 kids, but
Yeah.
nobody works together better than 20 drunk college sports fans.
Yeah, you're really into sports if you're a college kid and you're at an SMU game.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's bad all around, folks. It's bad all around.
Had a fairly credible source text us yesterday that they were talking to somebody who might know, who said Kyrie actually wanted a trade wanted out after he heard about this.
I could see it.
He's trying to be diplomatic right now, and he might also realize, it's a business decision, and that Kyrie probably realizes I can get a max deal this summer with this team because they need me. But maybe they're that stupid and they don't think they need Kyrie. Maybe they're like, why? Why do we need ball handlers?
My hope right now, and it's tough because I watch the Mavs and I feel the urge within me to want them to win because I've grown to like watching Kyrie, love several guys on the team, love their game. But the ultimate nail, like the finish him move for us in the proletariat of angry Mavs fan is that Kyrie walks. Like that's what we need to have happen.
Yeah.
He can't demand it. He's got a player option, so, does he decline it and go to the open market? I'm very interested and, frankly, confused by Kyrie's market because he's not really slowing down right now. But, he also benefited a lot from playing with Luka at this stage of his career. So does another team, he doesn't
Right, if he has to shoulder, like, his body won't be able to handle that.
No.
That's the whole bit with Anthony Davis getting hurt. It is not a surprise at all. You don't, your injury-prone over 30 players don't usually become healthier as time goes on. And Kyrie's also dealt with some issues.
So what the market for his services is, I don't know, but I would love for him to decline that option and then take another offer somewhere else. I would love that.
What would the sign and trade be? Him for John Wall?
Decline the option, and then he declines the option and then makes the Mavs max him out.
Yeah, but if they are not willing to go quite to that level and there's another team that will, I want them to lose Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I want him to be free.
It's so sad, too, because I love Derek Lively.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of wishing ill upon guys like that. I love PJ. I got to love a lot of these guys. And we're thinking, man, we got Derek Lively and Luka?
Yeah.
For the next decade?
Same timeline. All right, let's go to a guest, I think. We'll try this out from a technical standpoint. Haralabos, do you read me?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm here.
Yeah.
There he is, folks. Are we going to be able to see him? There he is. Where are you today?
I'm in Spain.
So, did you have to make a change in management at Castellón?
Yeah, we let the coach go, I guess, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Your first time doing that, I would assume.
It's my third.
Oh, okay. Look,
it's my third time. It's my third time doing that. First
no,
one.
No
that
sunk cost limitations here. Let's just rip
no,
and move.
I mean it's the first one that I hired as like a long-term coach. So it was a little bit difficult, but objectively was not very difficult. If I'm being honest, just a lot of things needed to change, and so yeah.
I want you to know that I did order a jersey, but then somewhere in the back and forth, they wanted my passport number, and I was in a.
That doesn't seem efficient. I'll have to take a look at that. That seems a little bit.
Yeah. So
I don't blame you. I don't blame you for not. Yeah, that's
I want
odd.
one. I'm gonna end up with one. But somebody reminded me. I told you last time we had you on, I would have one, and then I was like, oh, geez, they did refund me. So customer service A1.
Oh, nice.
So let's just start. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I have questions about your thoughts on where Mark is in all this. It's fascinating to watch him from the outside because we started with, hey, he's selling the team, but he thinks he's going to still have some input in basketball ops. Go back to November, he's telling Mark Stein, hey, I'm getting sidelined a little bit more than I thought here, but you're a business guy. I just don't see how that could have been confused. I mean, a lawyer friend of mine pointed out to me that almost all of those Shark Tank deals are contingent upon who's going to have management when they have equity. So
Yeah.
I don't know how
I mean,
he
there-
just got blindsided by this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to his frame of mind there, but it was pretty clear in the operating agreement, I guess, who would be running the team, and there was nothing in the language of the sale agreement that he would still continue. First of all, you cannot be, as my understanding, that the governor has to be someone with majority ownership of the team, and so, or at least an equal amount, equal or greater. So, yeah, it was odd. I'm not sure. I guess he might have felt blindsided, though. I mean, Mark's a pretty honest broker in that regard. I think I'm sure he really believed that. I can't imagine why he would have sold the team otherwise, especially now knowing that you basically sold the team to like Tommy Boy here.
It doesn't hurt that he looks like Chris Farley.
It's just like, but it's the story of Tommy Boy
yeah.
is like, it's very similar. It's like this, less humorous, I suppose. I mean, I saw the clip where he was shocked that they were booing him. Like that to me that's when you know you've completely lost all touch with who you are and how people perceive you.
It's stunning.
Yeah, buddy, they're booing you. Yeah,
It's stunning.
And he kind of thinks if we start winning, it's all going to be fine. And I do not believe that. What do you think?
they were winning before. That's the other part of it. Like, what weren't they winning? I mean, they made it to the NBA Finals. They made it to the Western Conference the year before that. I mean, it's just such a bad trade for. I mean, I've talked about it on Twitter and but it just doesn't make any sense. It's so nonsensical, and it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you get better now, and it gives you like. I gotta take a toy away from my dog, I think. It gives you like two years to win versus 10. Like, how is that? Like, you're in the casino business. The odds are not in your favor. Hey, get over here. Come here, jabroni. Squeezing that toy.
Oscar?
Oscar squeezing the toy.
Okay, so then, absent of any logical, rational reasoning for why this happened, we are sort of left to speculate, and a lot of that speculation comes down to character assessment and personality. And I don't know if you saw, there was a guy who wrote on Substack, I think his name was Jeremiah, who was with the Mavericks for
I hired him.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, I figured you had a relationship with him.
No, I brought him into my department. I mean, look, he's a very sharp guy. He's very binary in the math is the math. I think he really believed that. What he wrote, I think he believed for quite some time, but I certainly didn't agree with that assessment in any way. So,
and the assessment was that early in Luka's career, that the peripheral statistics indicated he would never be like a playoff winner, and that his value would never be higher. And I believe this particular staffer said he kind of came around on it, surprise, when he started winning in the playoffs. But he also has written about like detailing the struggles with catering to Luka. And I've heard you talk about it. Everybody was afraid of him except you, because that's not really how you operate. And it's interesting to me. I'm trying to get to the bottom of whether or not Luka demanded that sort of treatment, or was it implicit, or was it just the Mavericks freaking out that they had landed the one thing you need, and they went overboard in their quote unquote coddling of him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certain he didn't demand any sort of treatment. That I'm certain of, but someone's behavior can dictate how other people act around them, and he's the type of person who he gets hot. He flows like, he's someone who will fly off the handle and get upset. It's usually in the heat of the moment. It's usually when he's competing. It's not just in general. So I think there is that. I think also an kind of something that's not really talked about, I think, is his agency is really who you're dealing with in a lot of these situations. And his agency is, Duffy is a pretty powerful NBA guy. He's, I'm sure that had something to do with it as well in terms of demands. I mean, it's not like Luka was going around demanding things. I never saw that. He was young. Like when I think he was like 22 when I left, or 21. I mean, think about what you were like when you were 22 or 21. Imagine now also being that supremely successful at that age and being a star. So I don't know. I don't think he was demanding in that way. I just think like he was very volatile, for lack of a better word, at times. I mean, you see the guy gets angry at people quite often. He got angry at me a couple times. I never really did anything to the guy, so I don't know what he was angry at me for. But yeah, I could see that, but I don't think he was like demanding changes in this or that, or dictating what the front office should do. I mean, I know he maybe has made suggestions for a big man at times, but he was never Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it was just trying to cater to whims that he maybe didn't even necessarily have. He wielded a lot of power without even knowing he had power for quite a long period of time, I think. So that's part of it.
Sounds similar to early LeBron. I got a buddy who works at the Cavs and would just talk about when he left that he kind of actually yearned for a bit of leadership and structure, and like the Pat Riley thing, like he needed someone to kind of guide him, to teach him, and he didn't have that early on because everybody was on eggshells the whole time that LeBron was around. Like just don't make LeBron angry because we have a LeBron,
Yeah, I mean, look,
which
yeah,
is
I mean,
a
look,
pretty good strategy too.
No, it's look, I can empathize with a lot of people who worked in the organization. Like I didn't care because I didn't have to care. I didn't have to worry about making a living. So for me, I just was very, I just dealt in the truth basically. So if someone was hurting our transition defense, I wouldn't be afraid to say who it was to coaches. And I think some of that got transmitted to him or whatever, because I never really had a basketball conversation with him ever. But the other part of it is you have to cater to these players because they are the most valuable people in, and you're seeing it now. This current administration, current front office thought, oh well, culture is more important, community is more important, work is more important. We're not going to have someone who's not buying into the philosophies that we want and the fans will understand. And no, they like the kid. They watch the games. It's at the end of the day, it's an entertainment product too, and he's entertaining. And there's something about watching a game and seeing the highlights that's even more. I had more exciting moments seeing like the unbelievable things he did on the basketball court. That to me was almost more enjoyable at times than winning. You knew you were going to win eventually, but it should also be fun while you're doing it. And he brought joy to people's lives. I think it brought people a lot of joy. And he was there. He came there at a young age. They watched him kind of grow up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Even you can note that, and I consider you a guy who needs objective numbers, facts. Like I need.
Oh, but there's a human side. I mean, yeah. I deal in objective numbers and facts when I'm dealing with objective numbers and facts. When I'm dealing with human beings, I treat them like human beings. Like there's a human element to everything, and yeah, I don't understand. Like even the like people are hating on Nico and but like he didn't do himself any favors. Like he started his press conference with a joke. He made light of it. I mean Bobby Corrali. I'm not sure you pronounce his name, but the guy who used to work for the Mavs.
Yeah, Bobby Corrali.
Yeah, I mean his statement on what Nico should have said was perfect. I mean that's what he should have said. He should have said, "I know this is difficult. I know this is hard. We believe this helps us. We know we understand that people will be upset. We ask for your patience. Believe in what we're doing here." That's what you do. You don't start joking and kidding around, talking about how in 3.5 years you're going to be buried anyways, and after 10, and you're not going to be here anyways. Like he just started like, it was really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Kyrie is the one who's given the most prescient statements on this. He's like, look, you got to give people time. We get it. We understand people are upset. Clay had some comments. It sounded like a veteran who understands what players mean to markets. They get it. It just appears to be the people who are in charge who don't. So I did hear you tell a story, and I know this is like what I want to say is that nothing that happened really matters because they were winning and winning at a high level. They had figured out the pieces that fit to win with a Luka type player. But now we're all searching for answers, and I have heard you tell the story of having to get the lemonade out of his hand.
And that was a long time ago,
I know.
yeah.
I just wonder is it really just that? And we see Finley taking a beer out of his hand. Some German hoops podcast today went on like a 10-minute rant about his drinking. I'm just trying to get a feel for how ever present this was. Like, was it everybody all the time is like, we've got to get control of this guy? Or was
I was around.
Just kind of a minor annoyance?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it got worse, but not when I was around. I think when I was around, it was, we were just trying to win a playoff series, so it was a little bit different. These guys are trying to now win a championship. So now I can see why the stakes would be a little bit higher and you try to have a little more attention to detail maybe. But I don't know, this idea that he wasn't durable or he wasn't, he played awful defense in the NBA finals. That's apparent. But it's also, he also was the only guy who was able to hit a shot during that series. And it can be a little discouraging to play a historically great offensive team and be picked apart, and then you're the only player who can score. So I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't. Was it ever present? No. I mean, there was certainly some stuff like where on some back-to-backs, he maybe wouldn't necessarily be super stoked to play sometimes just because he was, always had some sort of nagging injury. But this idea that he's not a hard worker, I mean, what did they think? This guy just rolls out of bed and becomes like the greatest offensive player aside from Nikola Jokic? That's offensive. I mean, he wasn't born with this ability. He's the guy's like what? He just rolls out of bed and hits these trick shots from half court that he can do. Like he works very, very hard. He works on his craft. He developed the mid-range game. He developed all kinds of, step back was like not great when he first came into the league, and he developed that. He developed the ability to make shots now to play off the ball with Kyrie, whereas before he always dominated the ball. Like this idea that he's not a hard worker is kind of ridiculous. Now was he doing everything perfectly? No, of course not. Like that's the other part that's disappointing, is that there still is some people around, I guess, that are kind of downplaying. Like even his dad had a bunch of really positive things to say, which is nice to have your dad say this, but also someone should be like, yeah, you know what? He does have to take his conditioning a little bit more seriously. If you want to be great, you have to. That's the thing I think that would be interesting to see if that change happens, because someone does, as great as he is, he can be better for sure. Everyone can be better. And he has a very, very simple amount of things he can do to get to improve his game, which is just take his conditioning a little bit more seriously, take his diet a little bit more seriously, that sort of stuff. But it's easy to say those things from someone who isn't, carrying the load offensively and dealing with, the workload and all the other stuff. And you just have to be patient too. Like just work with the guy. Like, hey, just stay with him, be positive, just hold him accountable. You don't have to get up. It doesn't have to go from 0 to 100 where you, yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of shocked by it. I think it's just so crazy that they would even consider doing this. I think the crazier part is that they did it. It's the fact they're shocked at the reactions. like that's the part that's so interesting. That just shows you the level of intelligence you're dealing with. Is they just couldn't believe that people are so upset. Yet
they knew they had to keep it quiet because people would be upset if they heard about it.
That's the part that keeps getting me, and maybe it's just an order of magnitude.
I think Nico Harrison got groomed by Pelinka.
We have heard.
Oh my God,
that analogy has played very well for us as well. Don't tell anybody about this, little buddy. This is our
this is just our secret.
My special thing.
So let's talk Nico, because we've been talking. I mean, we're trying to look at this from every angle. What do you think of this? The thought that Nico wasn't hired to be a traditional GM, that he wasn't hired to run a franchise and make all the trades. He was hired by Mark Cuban to be Mark Cuban's GM. And as you know, that's not totally, GM doesn't have total control. Like Cuban I always thought Cuban was the GM, as much as Jerry Jones is of the Cowboys, but Cuban never took the title. Like nothing happened without Cuban in the end, correct? You couldn't make this major trade.
Not only that, but he would also be suggesting ideas and talking to me before I even, he would talk to other people. He was always getting ideas from people.
But it feels like he hired you he wanted your input. Donnie Nelson got a pretty good amount of input. I thought he hired Nico. Like he hired Nico has a lot of relationships around the league. That'll help us. That'll help me.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden Cuban's out, and the new people who bought the team are not basketball people, and they said, "Oh, you're the basketball guy? Okay. You're making all the basketball decisions."
Yeah, I don't know, my camera's all messed up here. I don't know how he thank you. I don't know how he
peptides.
The squeaking over there. I don't know how he thought that this guy would have any experience or knowledge or whatever. So yeah, I do think he wanted him for his relationships, and he wanted him to kind of bring some professionalism, a different approach. He did say to me, like, this is a relationship business. He was under the impression that I would want to continue working for the team as well. They were trying to court me while my contract was still going, and I just didn't work. And so, but yeah, I don't know. There's another angle to it is that, but also the idea that this is kind of like a power play in some ways. Like, think about Nico. I don't think Nico and Luka had a particularly great relationship. just because Luka, if you're constantly complaining about a person's work ethic, how can you have a great relationship in some ways? I don't know. I'm not sure, but it didn't seem to me like they had a really, it seems to me like if you're a guy who's worried about keeping your job and you've gotten, and the reason why I say that is because I look more, not so much at anything other than just the fact that all the people that were fired or let go, who were in like Luka's circle or whatever, right? Like his Slovenian trainers, Casey Smith was let go, not because he was close to Luka, but because he was maybe wielding too much power. There was a lot of that. So they kind of separated everyone who was kind of working with him, brought in new people, maybe thinking that it would change in some way. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a goofy. I can see why people are all being conspiratorial. I'm not about it, but I can see why they are, because nothing other than you're dealing with people who just didn't think this through properly makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't like even objectively, if you're talking about this team being better in the short term.
They're not better.
You disagree with that incredibly, don't you?
I mean, they don't have any depth as a ball handler. Like as much as defense, first of all, doesn't win. Let's say you believe defense wins championships. You still have to score. And now what do you do? Like, what are the knock-on effects of teams like in the playoffs, putting their best defender on Kyrie, bringing doubles against him? Now what? Okay, yeah, AD can handle it in the post, and he did pretty good in his first game in terms of creating from the post. That was nice. But aside from that's not going to win you. You're not going to outgun a playoff opponent just by dumping. This isn't like back in the day where teams are just banging long twos all day. You need to be able to create 3-point shots for others. And if you take the ball out of Kyrie's hands, or you even single him with a really, really good defender like Lou Dort or something, or one of Oklahoma City's other really good defenders, it's just problematic. And you don't have anybody else who can create a shot for themselves, the exception of AD, and that's not even really like a great shot. And he's not really creating a ton for himself. He's not creating on the perimeter, certainly. So yeah, I just think it's really, really not very. And by the way, they already had a good defense last year. I talked about this before. They already had like the third or fourth best defense in the league post trade deadline, which is another thing people don't talk about is that, but also they backed into that trade deadline. Like their number one target was Kyle Kuzma. They're going to give up 2 firsts for Kyle Kuzma. And Kuzma said, I don't want to go there. So like this idea that it's so shocking that after all the great moves Nico Harrison has made, that he would make this deal, that doesn't really hold water for me either. Because if you actually look at his syllabus, his like resume of trades that he's made, they spent a first on Christian Wood. Their big signing was Grant Williams. They really haven't done. Lively was great. The Kyrie move worked out, and the trade deadline worked out. But aside from that, they let Jalen Brunson walk for free. They had Luka on their team, and now they've got one draft pick out of it. Like they're net negative draft picks, and they had Luka and Jalen Brunson under contract. Like, how does that happen? That alone is insane.
I just don't even know anymore. Tell me what you were saying about the little minutia about having to send cash to make the deal whole. I enjoyed that.
That was there was like 100 and. In order to make it whole, there had to be like 100K had to come from Utah, I believe, and it didn't even all go to Dallas. It got chopped up. 50K went to each team, I believe. But they also threw in a second-round pick. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other crazy thing. It's like you're trying to make this deal work, and now you're sending in a second-round pick. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mikal Bridges went for 4 or 5 firsts. And Luka got 1, and Anthony Davis, who's probably got 2 good years left maximum.
Yeah, and people harp on that, and I get it. That's the logical way to look at it. But when you view it through the framework of they couldn't go to market because they couldn't let it out, which is sinister, but it's almost hard to get upset with them for having not commanded more on the market, because the lens you have to look at it through is they were not interested in this getting out. And so they limited
they wanted Anthony Davis. Like that's what they thought. That's their crazy thing. Like,
and he only played for one team.
Center. Like JaVale McGee, Christian Wood, the Lively, then Gafford, and now Davis. They're just loading up on centers because the Lakers somehow won a championship with 2 centers in the bubble. And they feel like this is the way to win. I don't know. Kind of crazy.
Well, and Kidd was a coach on that team. And
Correct.
I contend that I feel like Kidd was brought in too to be Luka's coach or to guide Luka. Many times a head coach is hired who's got a Carlisle type resume, a grinder as a player, and they can relate to everybody perhaps but the superstar, whereas Kidd was brought in to relate to this superstar and to speak to him and to, I want you to help mold this kid. And instead of getting rid of Kidd when that was failing, they got rid of Luka. And it's just
I don't even know that it did fail. I don't even know that it did fail. Like he was
right.
Yeah,
right. It didn't. They were on their way. They've been progressing. They've
Fail
been
in the
getting better
sense that
every
their
year.
relationship still had friction.
Or in
obviously.
the sense that they thought we got to trade him because this isn't going the way we want. I don't know. And I also say, I'll bring up something you tweeted about in a different way. But the name Dirk works for you, loves the Mavs. He will do anything for the Mavs, loves Luka. Like, make that his project to make Luka stop eating Big Macs or whatever the real root of this whole problem is. Like, make it a long-term project. And Dirk, I bet, would take that on and say, absolutely. Dirk.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like by the way, if you look at Dirk and Nash when back in the day when they were Luka's age, they were out. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm sure he would. Maybe he would. I don't know. I don't want to speak for Dirk. I think the issue is like what you mentioned about with Kidd not developing that whatever relationship. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I think like in my view, I don't think anybody he's not at the point in his career where anyone who tells him something he doesn't want to hear. It's very, I'm sure it can go well in some ways, but I've seen a lot of it where it didn't go well, where it's not in my experience, it seemed to me like he's someone who doesn't take negative feedback very well. So that's challenging. So you have to balance that a little bit. But maybe not. Maybe it wasn't framed the right way, or maybe it came from someone that he didn't respect. Because we'll see. The LeBron thing will be interesting because there's nobody who takes this more seriously in terms of your body. Like obviously LeBron's genetically gifted, but he's not so genetically gifted that he's able to play at 40 years old without being super diligent about his diet, his approach to the game. His mindset. This is someone who's meditating on the bench. He's someone who's spending millions of dollars on trainers, body, every single bit of it. He's working out like religiously. So doesn't mean Luka has to do that to succeed, but it's my view that it certainly would not hurt. Like I don't think it would hurt him to take that approach.
Yeah.
Now whether it happens or not will be interesting.
And the weird thing about it though is that when that happens and 28-year-old Luka has a six-pack and he's winning his first ring, in some way it'll be viewed as validation for Nico and Kidd of like, look, see, now he's taking himself seriously and he's a champion. And I'm like, they were in the finals. They were in the finals.
Yeah, but the other part is he would have, that comes with age. It comes,
sure.
Things change, things happen in your life. Like maybe losing another, who knows, maybe losing in the finals was enough for him to get motivated. I don't know. I think the part that I don't get is that, like, of course everybody wants to win. Winning is important. Like I want to win. Like I'm trying to develop a really, really good culture. I am pretty cutthroat with my team in terms of people that don't fit into that culture. I don't want to be around, but the other part of it is like sometimes you have to let people enjoy themselves and I mean the fans, and you're bringing a certain joy to people's lives. You're bringing, and it's not like you're not making the playoffs. Like you're going to the finals. You're doing things. You're compounding growth every year. You're getting a little bit better. You're getting a little bit closer, and people are enjoying themselves. The fans are. I don't know. And the other part is like the people who are critiquing him had no business. Like, I'm sorry, but those people have not accomplished anything. They're not accomplished individuals. Who are they to be talking about what it takes to win? That's the part that I found really, really offensive. Like, what have you done in your life that allows you to, you're in charge of the team, and so you're beholden to that. But like, also, come on, give me a break. What have you inherited a pretty good roster. You inherited a generational superstar. Have a little bit more humility, I think, in knowing what it takes to win, especially when. And then forget about, Nico's in a tough position, so I can empathize him. But the owner, I mean, this guy's like the definition of, he's
the Nepo
mediocre.
baby fail son.
He married into money. He's by the way, he doesn't take, like, if someone's going to talk to someone else about being fit, like I can, I at least work out. I take care of this guy. Does not look like he's ever denied himself a luxury of an extra meal. And so for him to talk about what it means to win and then to reference Shaq as like the ultimate example or one of the ultimate examples of it, it's just so tone deaf. And yeah, like, dude, like, obviously you're charming. You managed to marry into this amazing family, like, that makes a lot of money or has a lot of money. Great, congratulations. But what else have you accomplished other than going to school? People go to school. Well, you worked at Bear Stearns. How'd that work out for you? Like, Bear Stearns is a real fantastic company that almost bankrupted the whole country. So I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of sympathy for people who are so adamant in just have a little grace and be like, you know what, this is difficult. I underestimated how much this, we were new to this. We bought this team. We didn't realize, wow, like, we'll do better. Like, we're trying to get better every day. We're trying to make better decisions. We care about the fans. Like, please trust us. We really want to bring something special, but they don't. That's the other thing. They really don't. They don't care. They don't care enough. They don't care about Dallas. They're not from Dallas. They're not Dallas people. It's a real estate play for them. It's, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, just the fact that you get Ishbia or some of these other owners, even the Clipper Ballmer, big fans, Cuban, huge fan. And they come in and they buy a team. It's kind of like their fantasy team. And they get to make moves and trades and they want to do stuff. These guys weren't big basketball fans that bought a team. They bought a team for financial reasons. Yeah.
And the other part of it is, like, Ishbia, self-made, Ballmer, self-made, Mark, self-made. It's just different. It's like someone gave this guy a toy and he decided to, he got bored of playing with it or something. I don't know, or who knows? Maybe they just trusted Nico and Nico convinced them, and then now they're just covering up for it. But it's just a weird situation. It's just, if I was a fan, I would just be done with it, because what possible evidence do you have that they're going to make good decisions going forward? They even like the Davis situation, they trade for this guy, they bring him, now he plays. Now, was he healthy when he decided to play? Did they rush this situation because of the
backlash?
The backlash? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a weird, short-sighted. It's so goofy. I don't get it. It's like a 2-year window to win when you had 10 with a top 3 player.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any.
I think I, as a common man, just assume that people who have a lot of money like you are very smart. And I'm comfortable like that. I'm like, well, shit, that makes sense. That guy's a lot smarter than me. But when I see that this is how people with a lot of money operate.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I don't think it's true. People that have achieved things in life have, whether it's through, like what Mark did or what Matt Ishbia did or whatever, that they've they've done things, like they've at least
built things.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mean to disparage this guy too much, but I mean, he married into a rich family. I don't know what else to say.
And then just hearing the audio of when he's really bowing up, you read it in the text, you're like, that's a little weird. And then you hear the audio and he's like, that's how I win outside of basketball in my businesses. And if you want to take a vacation, don't take it here. I'm like, I cannot believe that you have puffed yourself up to a point where you feel like you can talk about Luka fucking Doncic like this. This guy?
He played 100 games that year. He played in the summertime. He played in the playoffs. He played in the regular season. Then he played again when the season was over. I don't know where his vacation was from. And literally spoon-fed all of these players. Created a bunch of by the way, he led the playoffs in like points, assists, 3-point shots, makes, steals. Like he led in like 5 different categories. Like, where's this vacation idea come from?
I think no one's ever done that.
Right.
And the first player to ever did it.
And Haralabos touched on this, but I thought this year was even more encouraging because if you look at his usage rating, it's come down. And as you pointed to, he's embraced playing off the ball a little bit more, which was kind of what I feel like the next step of his basketball evolution would be. It's like we cannot, that Western Conference Finals team, don't hope on being able to win like that. But winning the way that they were starting to this year is like, oh, shit, okay, now they can actually maybe prolong his career, lighten the load on him. It just seemed like everything, as you said, was compounding improvement in the right direction. And now we're here. We're here.
It's sad. I mean, I don't have a lot of. I mean, I don't know. Like, I wasn't necessarily like super well liked by Dallas fans in general. I have no idea why, other than some banana decided to write a hit piece against me. But yeah, I feel bad for them. It's just like. By the way, how is he not getting any of these? Not this leak, but any leak in general. All his leaks went away. Like he's not broken a story since my story. You'd think like he'd be the go-to guy if you wanted to break a story.
This is not for me to get involved in.
I don't know. It's just interesting to me. Like,
yeah,
it's interesting. Like he didn't even have like the information that like Mark settled his lawsuit the day of the election. Like that would have been fun. Someone should have wrote about that. That was interesting.
Okay, this is the Donnie.
Yeah, they settled. I think the day before the election or the day of the election, which I thought was funny.
So this is. I contend, Haralabos, that we do this for the Cowboys maybe every season because it's just a whirlwind and a circus. I think we should go back to the timing of the SI piece and look at this 6 or 7 year window or whatever that would end up being, 8 year. You cannot come up with a more volatile, wild ride of a sports franchise in that 8 years. And you're very much part of it.
TV
yeah.
Show. Yeah, it would make it, even like what I was doing would have made an amazing TV show. Like it would just just my interactions with Carlisle alone would have been like an amazing TV show. You know, like sitting there in Oklahoma City till 4 a.m. arguing, and then we win the next day, and he's like wants to do it again because we had such good results. I'm just like, bro, I'm not talking to you for that long ever again. I don't know what you think just happened last night, but I want to go to sleep.
The mindset of Tommy Boy there, like you said, he married into a rich family.
Analogy. What's that?
He married into a rich family. They bought into a good team. So all of a sudden he's like, oh, this is what it's like owning a team, standing on the court after a NBA champion, or I get to be on the podium. Look at this. I'm on the podium.
And he held the trophy before the players did, which is also just like so ridiculous. Like,
yeah. And then
I don't know if he did. I assume he did. I shouldn't say that. Normally they give it to if someone tried to hand me something that my players won, no chance. Zero. Like I stay out of the aside from like having my dog around practice, I try to stay out of the spotlight as much as possible. The players are the ones doing all the work. Let them get their pride and glory.
And then, as you mentioned, the ridiculousness of who he said his heroes of working hard were, like Shaq. He didn't. You pointed this out on Twitter. Didn't bring up Dirk.
No,
they have a statue of him right there. There is no more
on Nowitzki way. Yeah,
yeah. There is no more. But I guess if you brought up Dirk, you'd have to also bring up Dirk's early years and then his subsequent.
I don't think it's that. I think
learning how to eat right and.
No, I think if you bring up Dirk, then you open up the can of worms of Dirk being not a fan of this trade.
Well, okay, and that's where I was going here. What do you make? Do you feel like there was symbolism in him being at the Lakers game? He didn't go to AD's first game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk about anyone that's not me, so I have no idea what it is. But I don't know.
That's what we do.
I
was going to say
this is our job.
Aside from people I don't like, how about that? I think he loved Luka. I mean, he obviously liked Luka. What's not to love? Like they had a great relationship. Luka loved Dirk. That's the other part of it. So Luka respected Dirk, loved Dirk, and so yeah, I don't know. Symbolism, I don't know. He probably just wanted to see him play there. I have no idea. They were in Europe for a while, I'm guessing him, and so. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I don't know how they get. By the way, I don't know how they recover from this. That's the other thing. Like certainly not by kicking out every fan who wants to vent at the game.
Yeah,
that's not a way to do it.
Yeah. And I was telling Dan, I mean, you're looking for some level of closure, which is not going to come, and it's not being aided by the fact that they continue to say and leak that to whoever these comments about Luka on the way out. But it's also going to get worse because Luka's only about to become more famous. The Lakers are probably going to be good during his run.
And also, and LA's never, the Lakers, sorry to interrupt you, but the Lakers have never had a Spanish-speaking star, and he speaks perfect Spanish. He's going to be doing stuff in Spanish. He's going to ignite a whole different fan base that was already there, but now feels more engaged and more respected. And dude, he's about as petty a basketball player as you're going to get. Like, you don't think this guy's going to, like, would you ever want to be sitting courtside if you're Patrick Dumont?
Oh my God.
And Luke, that entire game is are you going to kick him out? Like, you're not going to be able to kick him out for saying something. And that entire, you're going to light, like, this guy carried a grudge because Vlade Divac didn't draft him, Phoenix didn't draft him, carried that grudge forever because he would make up grudges. That's the other thing. Like, he would just manufacture situations to rile himself up to light the fire. And so now he's actually genuinely hurt. Feels not just for being traded, but also for being insulted. Like, whew.
Yeah, maybe that was an underrated part of.
It's great. I don't hate him that much.
Oh, I'm very fired up for it. I got my Luka swingman purple and gold on the way. But you think about your time with the Mavericks. Maybe that was something that you didn't realize you were doing. Is just by pissing him off, you might have been accounted for a few wins above replacement there.
But here's the thing: like, I never actually had a conversation aside from like when we did trivia or something together, and I like made like a comment, like a funny joke about him, like. Or one day he showed up. One day he was I was in the locker room, and one day he was not dressed, and so he had to like put on something. He couldn't just wear sweats to sit on the bench, so he put on like this jacket. And I was just like, bro, like you can't wear those jacket with those shoes on. I'll tell you, they don't go together. Like you should just find a different. And then I was just joking. I didn't, but he actually, I think it actually did offend him. I think it hurt him. So, but I'm just maybe my delivery, but it was just a joke. It wasn't, it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, but I never really, the one thing the one thing I will say is we had a big thing on transition defense one year and how we were going to solve our transition. The whole summer was transition defense. And I was just like, I think I sent an email and I was like, you guys are all tiptoeing around. Like the number one issue is it's not the offensive rebounding scheme. It's not our shot selection. And it's not taking bad shots early. It's the fact that we have one player who when he drives to the basket, he doesn't get back. He often gets fouled. They don't call the fouls. And then he complains to the referee. He gambles for steals in the backcourt. And that's our transition defense. Like and that certainly got forwarded to him, I'm sure. Or was oh yeah, they're blaming you for, but it was just true. I don't know what else to say. It was true. So maybe that offended, but
it's also gotten better.
You get offended by facts and you're in.
It's also legitimately gotten better.
I mean, he was complaining too much. That's just a very simple, that's just factual. Like, why are you, it's not helping you to complain. Like, I don't think. But yeah, I certainly never said that to his face. I communicated to the coaches. And then for whatever reason, some of the coaches were trying to angle for their own kind of spot in the organization. And it became very clear that Carlisle and I were quite closely aligned with one another. And so it was a fun way to kind of drive a wedge. Carlisle's listening to this guy and he's not listening to me. He should be listening to me. I'm the assistant, not some gambler. So, but yeah.
Well, on to lighter things before we let you go. So 51st State or where's Canadian politics right now? I don't know. I went to go see Tom Green do stand-up about a week ago, and he was pretty mad at America. But I don't really get it.
Trump kind of, I think the worst part of all of this is the fact that it's distracted Canadians from what the real problem is. And I promise you it's not Trump. It's not America. Like this country, Canada, is run by probably the most corrupt politicians that Canada's ever seen.
They got cool Halloween costumes.
They do, and they've got good feelings, and they're very kind, and they're very inclusive, and they've got all the flags, and they've got all the, all of the things that you're supposed to, all the, like people forget that this government closed people's bank accounts who donated to, not only close their bank accounts, but in some cases froze their money. If you donated to the Canadian truckers who were protesting the COVID vaccine mandates, that your bank accounts were closed. Like, thank God the Canadian Supreme Court stepped in and overturned it. But Trudeau was like saying that they were Nazis because honk honk was code for Heil Hitler. And people were honking their horns. Like when the truckers were honking their horns, they were.
Boy, Nazis. Dan's excited. He's like,
and it's the craziest. Like Trudeau. What's that?
Oh, nothing. Just Dan can get away with it just by honking.
I was like. It was code, and those people need to be stopped. And by the way, they were also transphobic, I heard also. He did say that in a speech. They were just protesting vaccine mandates. They were truckers, most of which were already vaccinated. And so the Canadian people who got behind it had their lives turned upside down and ruined in a way that was shameful. And then on top of that, they've added all these carbon taxes, and being in Canada is very tough because you are taxed to death, and then you spend money and have additional taxes. And then when you consume things like gasoline to drive your car or whatever, there's an additional tax, and then there's a carbon tax on top of that. And the cost of living is high. And but now the Canadians have, the prime minister resigned, or agreed to resign. Trudeau agreed to resign. But now he hasn't left, and now he's kind of rallying this anti-Trump thing, and people are very proud. Like, they booed the Canadian or the American national anthem at a hockey game when they played it. Fans did. So they're very emboldened to be anti-American and anti-Trump, but they've got their own problems, and it seems like I don't see it changing anytime soon unless they call an election. So, and they won't.
I heard that honk honk was just a Roman greeting. It wasn't actually the howl.
Roman salute, yeah.
The Roman salute, yeah. Well, we need to do our annual crypto quick hit, because you were on about a year ago and had some things to say about crypto and Bitcoin, and I think we got some immediate reaction that you did not know what you were talking about, and then a couple months later it hits 100,000. And everybody was like, "Oh, maybe he does know what he's talking about a little bit." So when should I sell my Bitcoin yet?
And do what with it?
I don't know.
Question. I mean, I don't know. The governments around the world are. Yeah, you could do that. No, governments around the world are just floating in debt, and it's a giant debt spiral. And the only way out of it is to either have austerity, which is cutting spending, which is kind of what Doge and America is trying to do right now, or increase it by printing more money. And most countries in the world are doing the latter. And so when that happens, I mean, there's like a gold, even I think gold's at an all-time high because really, really smart, successful, rich people are identifying that it's the safest asset. And they're also old. They don't understand Bitcoin, so they're just figuring out that gold is the move. But there's never been a situation where gold goes up and Bitcoin doesn't follow violently. So, I'm still a massive believer. I don't really have anything negative to say about it other than Trump, kind of the people around Trump and the meme coins definitely didn't help. Definitely didn't help the idea that crypto is a scam when the guy hasn't even been inaugurated. And him and his wife are both launching coins. That seemed like such a bad, really, really despicable, really just really disappointing, but also not that unexpected in some ways.
Yeah. Next thing I know, I can't find Hawk Tua girl for a few weeks because she's wrapped up in some scam scheme.
Yeah.
Have you guys been getting? Go ahead.
No, I mean, crypto is rife with scammers. Like, let's just be clear, it is. I'm not saying that it's not. 99% of crypto is pretty scammy. But Bitcoin there's no scam. There's no scam behind Bitcoin. It's nobody controls it. It's decentralized. It's it has a code that it's governed by that's open source, and anyone can audit it and check it. And it's become a digital version of gold. It's the only thing that gold has going for it is just more history. And so as more time goes by, the gap between the two of them gets reduced. And then, I mean, everything in our lives is digital. Yeah, like we're doing this digitally. We're not even in the same room together. Books, music, you name it, digital. Why wouldn't money and store of value be digital also?
I guess speaking of scams, have you guys been getting it'll be like a Mavs coin, or tweeted from an account.
I'm gonna get a charger from my computer.
Oh, okay. Tweeted from an account it'll say it's Coop, but it's not.
Huh? No.
Or you guys haven't been getting that? Okay.
I have a better scam. My poor dad got scammed by someone pretending to be Jennifer Aniston. That was fun.
No. He thought he had finally.
Yeah, that's sad.
That is sad, and it sucks too because.
Jennifer.
It sucks because Haralabos is a guy who's really tech savvy, and you would think he could protect a parent Like I think about this as
what,
we always
what
joke.
chance does my mom have?
Right. We always joke that we're basically like the geek squad because we know how to back up a computer. So to our family, it's like, geez, we'll call in Snowden over here. But as you get older, it just seems like it's going to come for all of us one day.
Yeah, the technology never stopped, and we stagnate. It's sad. I even feel that way. Like I'm very technically advanced, and then now when I'm dealing with some of these new and new technologies and new, whether it's AI agents to build things, I'm just like, whoa, you can do that. That's interesting.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Let's make it 2 in a row this weekend at iBar or home.
No, we're at home. We're home.
Okay.
In Europe, in soccer, the home team's on top.
You know, I noticed that actually recently. I'm going to Portland soon, and I was trying to figure out when the Timbers were going to be there. Well, that's just tradition. I guess I never questioned why we do it that way. Football. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
We do it that way. We do it that way because of baseball.
Oh, okay.
Bottom of the inning.
Second,
so home team is listed last, and we've been covering baseball since the 1800s.
We just adopted that for other sports.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Theorizing.
It makes sense. Well,
I have
fun
one
times.
last thing.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you on this Mavs thing. What is the end game for these fans? What are they just going to keep protesting? They're going to support like the players. At some point, the players need to be removed from this distraction. What's the Kyrie, AD, Clay? It's not their fault. Their guy got traded.
No, I think probably what's going to happen, and Saturday I wasn't there. There was protest outside, but from what I heard from accounts and from watching on the broadcast, it was pretty electric in there, especially when AD's putting up Hall of Fame numbers in the first half, just racing, going end to end. He was playing. I've always thought Anthony Davis is a very boring, awesome basketball player. But in the first half of that game, he was exciting, awesome Anthony Davis. And I think people were pretty fired up. But they were also going full Pyongyang in the presentation. Like they had the music cranked double. There were no sign. You couldn't really even get a sign in. You couldn't put a piece of tape over your Mavericks logo, or
that's absurd.
Not put a piece of tape over it and write a message. You could not, obscure the logo on your hat or your jersey or your shirt. So then they backed off that a little bit
They weren't showing fans on the Jumbotron
They were not showing
at
fans
all.
on the Jumbotron at all. So, in between the games, nothing. It was just straight up highlight B-roll. So then the other night, they backed off of it a little bit, and then they got, very heavy-handed and totalitarian with the few fans that did decide when they got on the Jumbotron to speak up. But the players were also being supported. Like the crowd was cheering when Kyrie, you know what I mean? So most of the game, It's still cheers. And then a couple pockets of time, people were finding spaces where they thought they could voice their negative opinion and it wouldn't come off as we're not supporting the team. But my plan is to just make this a one-shot deal, at least as far as a concerted effort. And when Luka and the Lakers come back on April 9th, that if you are at that game, that every single time the Lakers are at the line, and you would normally be chanting to distract the other team anyways, you need a full stadium chant. You need sell the team. You need fire Nico. You need MVP every time he touches the ball. And I just want that cultural artifact to exist where Mike Breen is trying to call a game and 17,000 people are chanting sell the team or fire Nico, because that'll exist forever. They'll get the message, and then we can handle it how we want from there. And most importantly, Luka will get the message. Yeah. That's my goal.
That seems fair. And do you guys think Kyrie wants to stay with the Mavericks? I feel like it's a tenuous. I guess that's the evidence of Nico's relationship building, is the fact that he was able to get Kyrie to this team and keep him happy, and now still have him be there. But I feel like the ownership group and Kyrie don't really jive in a lot of ways.
No, it's been very confusing from day one on how that works. Like, does he really know who they are? Do they know who he is? Is he just kind of at a stage in his career where it behooves him to not be seen as the dissident because he's at the end of his earning curve? I could see when we've heard from people
he about winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, he also. Yep.
Exactly. But in the event that somebody who also, another team that cares about winning, can make a comparable offer to him this offseason if he opts out, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then that's the ultimate nail in the fail son and Nico. If Kyrie walks,
Which is also kind of crazy that your entire future is based on a guy who's already advanced age and is going to get worse and worse like as time goes on, and he's already past his peak.
He's past
Like,
his
that's-
peak, and as great as he's been in the room here, it's not like it would be totally out of character for him to say, I'm not feeling it anymore and just want to play somewhere else. I mean, most of his time he's been a volatile asset. So you've got a volatile asset. You've got a guy who on game one is out for the rest of the year. And then, a handful of other pieces. The whole thing is just fucked.
When has he ever been like the main leader? Also, that's the other thing.
I brought that up yesterday. I could only find one team where I considered Kyrie the best player on that team. And it was one of the Boston teams because he really hasn't.
Cavs pre-LeBron, but they were not a
and they weren't. Yeah. They were a good team where he was a lead guy. It doesn't really exist, and that's fine. The thing that drives me crazy is they were finding everything perfect they needed next to Luka. Like every guy they found. No, Davis Bertans does not have a role on this team. You know what I mean? But Quentin Grimes or Caleb Martin does because they can create their own shot a little bit. PJ Washington is a perfect wing to play with Luka. It's just
now those guys have to downsize or down guard, which is also going to be something that I don't think they've really.
Clay should be guarding fours, not twos. Clay's way too slow to guard twos now.
Yeah, and like they're going to play a smart team that is going to like if AD's guarding fours, what four is he like? You're not gaining a lot of rim protection because you're not playing a team that's going to have two bigs in the paint.
Right.
So you're going to have like when the Lakers played Denver, as soon as Denver figured out to space out Aaron Gordon and keep him away from the dunker spot, AD's impact was minimized because he either had to he had to be on the perimeter and then it's a layup line from that point. So the one thing that the Mavericks had going for them is they had the ability to have wing defenders who could really like inhibit transition and also perimeter attacks. And now you have Clay, who's not, as much as he's played well this year, he's not someone who's going to be locked down on the perimeter, although not when there's space. Maybe AD could do that. I don't know. Like he's very big and he's very wide and he can come out, but then you're negating his real ability, which is he's the best rim defender in the NBA, bar none. So you want him near the rim. That's when you get the most value out of him. And if you play him at the four, it's challenging. I mean,
it's challenging. And I think also that skill that allows him to play the four is the first thing that's going to go. As he ages, he's not, and that's a gift in some ways because you can play him at the five, but you have Lively, you've got Gafford signed up. He's not going to be able to chase people on the perimeter.
How about that? It wasn't really a positional need.
No, it really wasn't. Like with Gafford's injury, you might have been looking on the streets for another big. But even if so Gafford gets hurt the other night, I would rather roll the dice with 10 games of small ball with and of course you would have Maxey, but he's hurt too. You can play PJ at the five if Luka's out there for 15 minutes a game. You could do it for 12 minutes. You could get by if you have Luka. But if you have AD, then
I don't know. It's just so short-sighted because we talked about this to death. But your window now is 2.5, maybe 3 years max. And you've got 3 shots where you're not going to be the favorite in any one of those years by any stretch. The other part, like Luka was never wasn't a favorite in any of these playoff series, and you are saying he didn't do enough. Like that he's the reason why he didn't. Yeah. Anyways,
my head hurts.
Does this make sense at all, Bob? Business wise, like if you're trying to talk yourself into why did they do that? They didn't want to pay the supermax, which is looming.
I think that part is the NBA definitely fucked up with the supermax. They thought that it would help local teams that drafted their player retain their talent, but really what it did is it just put them in a situation where they had to overpay or offend, and they could have figured it out in a different way. Like, it's a lot of money. He's worth it. How about that? And it's not like you can go under the cap and save money. You have to spend to the cap. Like you have to meet the minimum. So if you don't spend enough on salaries, all your proportional players on your roster just get a proportional amount. So now, but this is not an ownership group, in my view, that's going to go into the tax. Like, I don't see that happening. So maybe they thought it just handcuffed them in some way, but I don't think they understood it. What is the value of Luka Doncic? It's definitely going to be that.
Yeah,
Any team-
I feel like that limitation by that stipulation in the CBA is for mid and smaller market teams and players that you're not really sure are worth it. But there's like 3 at any given time that you're like, make it $1 billion. The ROI will still be worth it for us. He's not fucking Brandon Ingram. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, but Jaylen Brown got a big contract because of this provision of the max, this the hometown where you can pay them more than everyone else. So it does put you in a bad position where for some players like that you mentioned, where if you tell them, well, we're not going to pay you that, the guys might just take less money to go someplace else because he's offended. So it does put the franchise behind, it does put them in a precarious position where they have to. But that being said, you just pay the money. Who cares? This is a risk. Luka's a risk. $340 million of Luka at 26 or 27 years old is a risk. But trading for Anthony Davis, who's had a career of injury histories, and you have 2 years of him left, and that's not a risk. Everything is there's risk in all forms of business. You're just trying to mitigate risk, and you've just basically. By the way, look at the years where they fucked up and they didn't make the playoffs. They had to tank. That's a risk. But with Luka, you can buy another year. This year, by the way, might be a completely ruined season. There's a high probability that this season is just a wasted season for them. So with Luka, that's okay because you have another year. You have another 6, 7 years, 8 years of him before he even gets to the end of his peak. And here you have 2. You've got the Kyrie thing hanging over you, where you're not sure if he's going to continue. And then if you do, you have to pay him a lot. And that contract's going to be quite poor, by the way. Him staying for that contract is going to be quite poor value relative to what you're going to have to pay. So yeah, it's just bad. I mean, we don't even have to anyone knows it's bad. Look, when the number one response to your trade is, oh my God, Shams was hacked, you made a bad trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made a bad trade. So.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time, man. We're not a show that can ask you and share our stories about how we made our first million, but I did enjoy you on that show as well. I enjoyed hearing you talk about biohacking and how to stay alive. Dan would enjoy it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, to all the people who don't like me, I'm definitely trying to stay alive. So I plan on being here for a while.
All right, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you,
Go
guys.
Castillon.
Well. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Be well.
Thanks. He's great.
And that was very informative, but I do not feel better.
No.
Why can't he just be the GM?
Was this on the air or off the air? I can't even remember anymore because it's all blending.
Mm-hmm.
This is all I can think about and talk about off the air too. It just feels worse every day. The more I learn, the more you just want to keep. I wanted him to say, you know what though? If they do the Supermax, yes, it will hamstring them and blah, blah, blah. I wanted him to say, yeah, I could see that at least business-wise.
Or come through with some breaking story where he's like, I actually found Luka passed out at halftime.
Yeah,
he had been drinking the entire first half.
And this is going to, 2 years from now, I just don't see where 2 years from now I'm doing anything except just cheering for the Lakers. I don't want to root for the Lakers, but...
Oh, I already got my league pass set up. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I told you, I was very optimistic about I'm still going to cheer for Kyrie and Anthony Davis and all these guys because I'm emotionally invested. But Dumont's comments, I'm done. I regret going to the game Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to the point now where I think the biggest mishap in the league office this year was not stepping in on this trade. It was that, you know how great Mark Williams was going to be for us? The 2-man game?
Yeah, but we need Dalton Connect, man. Space the floor.
Dalton Connect and Luka, I'm excited to watch them grow together for many years. Many, many years.
Don't forget about Bronny.
What about so now I'm also just looking at conspiracy theories, because they can't be this stupid.
There's a lot of them out there.
But the ratings are down. The big topic was that the NBA rating, right, wasn't actually true, correct?
It was, once they included Christmas, they were up 2%.
Yeah, every year the ratings are down.
They may not be killing it, but it's not a problem.
But ratings are down. They just signed this new big TV deal. We need Luka in L.A. Or we need something in L.A. Because we're about to lose LeBron, and you can't build around this boring 32-year-old. So we're going to need something. Nothing. really, what a deal. Where could Luka have gone? I guess besides New York, but L.A. feels even bigger. It is the place for basketball. And now he's there with Ohtani. Haralabos was pointing out, like, now this guy who speaks multiple languages, Luka, you know how he'd get one or two questions maybe, and we're in Dallas with a Hispanic population, but L.A., he's international. His star is going to get even brighter and brighter.
No, I think in a few years he will be, you know, this may not like fully mean as much to you, but I think he will be like, you know, Ronaldo or Roger Federer or what's clay court guy's name? Rafa Nadal. Like, I think he'll be one of the biggest celebrities in the world in a couple of years. Just think about the guys I just named. You don't exactly have to be a live wire. You're just a normal dude.
He exudes. He's got that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like, you know, Tim Duncan. Maybe an overall better player.
Yeah.
But never had that.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. Same thing. You probably can't argue he's an overall better player, but he doesn't have that magnetism. Like, Luka has that. I mean, look, Haralabos, the most analytical, you know, quant or whatever ever, he opened our talk with, he brought joy to so many people. His analysis was the exact same as my wife, who hasn't watched a full Mavs game maybe in her whole life. But she knew he brought joy to her and anybody who would watch him for a little bit.
Yeah, but he was a pain in the ass to Nico.
Yeah, he drank lemonade after practice.
And that's what sealed it.
Like, I am not interested in... I'm sorry. I got to really like Kyrie here a lot, too. And I'm very sorry for the players, but they're going to have to just go back to their mansion and lie on their big pile of money to get over it, losing me as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a Mavs fan.
And I feel like we mentioned it there, but Kyrie's comments the other night, maybe we just play him. We have a couple minutes here, right?
Hey, let's do a spot.
Yeah, I think actually when you cue that up. Okay, Ownwell. Ownwell is here to save you money, not just on your property taxes, but on all sorts of bills. It's ownwell.com/thedumbzone. Dan looked into this. They told him, we cannot save you any money. But you know what that means? It means Dan didn't pay them any money.
Yeah, and it took like 3 minutes. You go online, just put in your information, basically put in your address, and they check it for you. And, yeah, if they can save you money, then they will take money. They don't take money from you unless they make you money. And the money they do take is lower than anyone else on the market. I think it's 25% is what they generally take.
25%.
Average savings of over $1,100 for people on their property taxes.
Yes, 86% of customers get a reduction. But again, even if you're in that 14%, it's no harm, no foul. You sign up for auto renewal like Blake did, and they're checking you all the time.
Yeah, I'm looking at my little Ownwell portal here. Ways to save, tax protest, exemption, insurance, internet bill, electric bill, mortgage, and equity. And I have a green check mark next to each one because they've checked all of them for me.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Ownwell.com/
How did they do
the
it?
Dumb Zone. That's ownwell.com/ the Dumb Zone. Yeah, let's play this real quick before we wrap up part one, because this is about 2 minutes. I think this is the smartest thing anybody said about the trade, and it's Kyrie after the game the other night. Do you have it over there by any chance? Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to.
I know you're out there.
Perfect.
On the floor. I don't know. Do you see fans getting ejected today?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't see that.
Okay.
But they were.
I mean, it's
What was going on?
stuff like holding up Fire Nico signs, and
Okay.
we haven't got like the official reasoning yet, but you know, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about the reaction from fans and kind of the vibe at the arena since the trade went down.
Yeah, I think it's graduated from just like hate to anger to it's the cycle of emotions. Just the hate, the anger, the grieving, and then the passion. You gotta give credit to Dallas fans. They've really cheered not only for Luka but for the Mavericks for 40 some odd years, and this is their community team. So it's just like I felt the way when the New Jersey Nets moved to Brooklyn, and I don't know, I'm not comparing it, but it's just like I felt a way when I was a kid. Even when J-Kidd was on the Nets and he got traded, I was mad at J-Kidd for a while as a young fan. You know what I mean? it's just part of human nature and this journey in the NBA business and the NBA lifestyle, and also just the connectivity engagement we have with the fans. They're young fans, they're older fans who've been cheering for everybody. So you just got to give everybody grace, and to see the emotions come out like that over basketball, it just shows you that basketball is not just a game to certain people. It's a spiritual experience. It's a connector piece, and they watch their favorite players and they want to see them forever. So I err on the side of just understanding where people are coming from, and I didn't see everybody getting ejected or certain fans getting ejected, but I think it's just part of the process, man, of what we're all dealing with as not only players but fans in Dallas, man. But we got to move forward and put our best foot forward.
Just let him talk.
Feedback. I know you're
Just let him talk.
Instead of Nico or the owner?
Or the owner, or whatever they're filtering down to the people in game ops, because he said it. He's like, dude, it's more than just a game. This is a social connectivity. This is something that brings people together. We all get to decide what has meaning. And if, again, like I've said before, if you and a bunch of like-minded people assign meaning to the same thing, it doesn't matter what it is. It means something. And to have two people at the top of their fields in sports ownership and finance and in running a basketball team just completely not understand that, it's bonkers to me. I can't wrap my head around it. The closest I could do to wrapping my head around it is what Kyrie just said. Give people grace.
It's just so sad.
It truly is. You guys think I should? So I'm leaving tomorrow morning for a quick boys ski trip over the weekend. You think I should try to institute a moratorium? Keep the vibes good?
There's no way.
No Luka talk for a couple days?
You just can't hang out with anyone
I know.
for an extended period.
But I don't want us to just sit there and get pissed off about it for 3 days. Because I got some hardcore Mavs fans in this group.
Like I was telling you again.
It's all a blur.
It's all a blur, but although it's the saddest thing, and I can't even imagine that this is still real, I can't get enough Luka content. You know what I should do? Maybe I'll have it for us when you're not here, but I was listening to Locked On Lakers yesterday.
I've already subscribed.
And I wanted to hear their reaction. And they are they're getting Luka. I remember our thing on getting to know Luka. Now they're getting him as a much more polished product. They just can't believe it. They're just talking about, this cross-court pass he made, or this, and they're talking about the fact they've been watching LeBron closely for a few years, albeit even at the tail end of his career, but he's still LeBron, and the basketball IQ and the ability to see the floor, and they're like, I can't believe there's another one of these out there.
Ah!
And they're like, when a guy gets a pass and where he is and his ability to, and they're just giddy. They cannot believe it. They're just like, what? How?
Did you watch the game, his first game?
I watched a decent amount of it, yeah. He did have a nice skip cross-court.
I mean, he did all that. He made Rui Hachimura look insane, which is hard to do sometimes. But he crossed the guy up and stopped on a dime and tried to shoot a step back, or he shot a step back three. And hearing the crowd go, whoa, that was ours.
What is this?
That used to be us. That needs to be us. And now Lakers fans get to enjoy it.
And that's what
Sucks.
I'm telling you about how it's not going to get better. Because if you just stopped right now, February 2025, and said, how much joy is Luka Doncic as being part of the Mavericks going to bring me in the next 10 years? It's a lot of moments. It's a lot of moments. It's a lot of waking up the next day like, holy shit, he pulled it off. We beat such and such. That's still going to be happening. It's just going to be happening for someone else. And you're going to have to know about it the whole time. That part sucks.
All right.
Marching orders?
This is part 1 of today's podcast.
The Dumb Zone.
You're listening to The Dumb Zone.
BetterHelp.com/dumbzone. That's the promo code.
It is the promo code.
For BetterHelp.
Get in contact with BetterHelp. Scheduling therapy can be a huge pain. You got to look at somebody who's got availability. It's got to match your day and time. Not with BetterHelp. You can talk to a therapist online. And that's also cool because if you're not vibing with that person, you can move on pretty quickly. They have over 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide range of specialties.
How many? 30,000.
30,000, a whole lot. A whole lot. And they can, look, you're going through a tough time in your sports life right now.
Oh, my God. You've done this, though, really?
Yes. I've used BetterHelp. My wife has used BetterHelp. It's about learning those positive coping skills. And for me right now, that's probably not reading and listening to every Luka-related thing that I can. But you got to figure out what works for you, and BetterHelp can help you do that at BetterHelp.com/dumbzone.
10% off your first month with that code.
There you go.
Joining us now in studio, and if you are watching on YouTube, this is part 2 of our programming today. The great Sarah Hepola, the controversial.
Wow.
She hasn't been here in a while.
Controversial.
The polarizing, the over-the-top.
So polarizing. I was at an event recently, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I know you from the Dumb Zone." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And he was like, "All these people say less Sarah Hepola. And I say more Sarah Hepola." And I was like, "Okay, thanks."
There are factions.
You don't want people to just be indifferent about you, do you?
That's right.
No.
That's right.
Yeah, Sarah's joining us because she is a writer for the Dallas Morning News. She, of course, has her own book out. I forgot the name of it.
Sure. It's called Blackout.
Wait. It's right there. I've read it. You know that.
I appreciate that.
It's funny now.
Have you?
I've read some of it.
Okay. You just lived it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
Yeah, last time we had you in, this guy was sauced.
I wasn't sauced. But it is funny if you were to go back and listen to those interviews, you will notice me being pretty quiet.
I did notice that.
Of course. But also it's because, it's weird. She was talking about things that, of course, I knew, but I didn't know how to say, well, yeah, that's... Her book is, a lot of it's not helpful, but it's like, if you're living it, what am I supposed to say? And Dan's like, do you really sometimes not remember what happened? And I'm like, well, yeah, anybody who drinks a lot has a lot of times where they don't remember what happened.
Okay.
But I guess I didn't really know how to maneuver and navigate that situation. So I was oftentimes just quiet.
One interesting fact about my book is that it sold better on e-reader on Kindle because people did not want to be seen reading it.
I could see that. Yeah, it's that Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
Things that communicate a message about you.
Yeah. And I've had people say that they put other, if they had the hardback, they put other, flaps on them.
Yeah. It's like Atomic Habits or some
self-defense. Exactly. Yeah. How to love yourself. You're a badass.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that if you have a problem, you don't want to just be seen walking around with a book called
It's for my daughter. She's going through tough times.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're hard to pin down, too.
Thank you.
You're very busy.
Rumor is true.
Well, we're trying to get you in studio quite often, and then it falls through, and we're not in studio a ton.
Is that what happened? I feel like we beefed last time I was on the show.
Hell yeah.
Did we?
Yes.
What was it about?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh.
Okay.
No, Blake, hit us.
It was about the transgender athlete.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Oh, that's right. Well, now we don't have
win.
it anymore. That's right.
No, I don't win anything.
You won the argument.
I feel misrepresented by that argument. It's not even something that I wanted to be arguing with you about. And
so you think I blackballed you for a while?
Yeah.
We put you in timeout?
Yeah, in fact, the guy...
And then he waited until Trump won. He's like, oh, okay, well,
we can get her back now.
Cool now.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I know we've talked. Oh, and I talked to you about... Go ahead.
And then I did the story on Jake. Now, you did try to get me into the studio for that.
That's when we talked at length, I guess, right?
Yeah, I interviewed you for that. Now, I think it's possible you were mad that the story wasn't about you.
Right. I told you at the end.
You did.
Who's the hero in this story?
You remember.
The guys who, had to put up with Jake for all this time, or Jake.
Yeah, exactly.
For recognizing, finally, That he had a problem.
The screw up that went to rehab, or the guys that had to deal up with the collateral damage?
The guys that can handle their beer.
Yeah, it's weird. The people in your life, they don't ever stop and think like, I wonder if I'm driving this person crazy.
Oh,
they're like, what's this guy's
You're
deal?
not supposed to transfer.
And then you talk to
blame.
you're like, oh, you don't see the
Jake, I having had my beef with Dan last time I was in here, I now do understand why you had a drinking problem. Everything.
Yeah, you talk to my wife, you talk to them.
Yeah.
What are we?
No, I really loved the segment that you guys did on Jake's triumphant story. I can't remember who
Don't
read
help
it.
them.
It was hilarious.
Steve Noviello.
I felt so bad because it made me feel like I had written some sort of tawdry, I don't know, piece. But can I say one thing, which is that until the recent story I wrote about Mark Cuban, that Jake's story was the #1 story I had written in my year.
Rainmaker.
Way
you
to
need
go.
numbers?
That's right.
You know who to call.
Now you can. Let's bring them to podcasting. Wouldn't that be cool? We could get those.
Oh.
What'd you write about Cuban?
So I was at, this was just over the weekend, I was at an event for Arts and Letters Live, which is like the Dallas Museum of Art speakers series. Mark Cuban was interviewing Bill Gates, and this had been on the calendar for a while. It just happened to be his first public appearance since the Luka trade. So, when he sat down, he said this thing that was like, well, I've had a hard week, and everybody laughs. And he's like, he turns to Bill Gates and he's like, so let me ask you, if you left Microsoft and Steve Ballmer traded Windows 10, the cutting edge, or Windows 11, the cutting edge operating system, for Windows 10, a Hall of Fame but older operating system, what would you do? And then Bill Gates is like, I think I'd probably hide from the press. And Mark Cuban is like, I know a couple of other people in that situation. So it was like a little canned exchange to basically address the elephant in the room before they went into this hour-and-a-half conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad he did that, only because he was tweeting up a storm about anything that I just didn't care about anything he was saying, because I wanted to hear what he had to say about Luka. Well, not that he said anything there, but at least he addressed it.
It's so weird to go to his Twitter thread after the trade because he's still talking about like sovereign wealth,
crypto, or
just cost plus drugs.
Again, I don't care.
Who cares? You tweet about everything.
Our lives have been significantly altered here for the worse. And you're the only guy that can say something to help us make sense of this, and he didn't.
Yeah, and it's very confusing to me too because he does still own 26 or 27% of the team. So I assume there are some stipulations on what he can say or can't say about the organization, right? Like he can't be actively saying things that could be perceived as tanking value. So he can make little jokes like that, but I don't think he could come on our show and say, I disagree with this, and it was a very bad decision that I would have stopped had I been able to. So even if he feels that way, we're never going to know until he's fully divested from the team. That's where we're left. Anyways. You went to a float tank, too.
I did. I went to a float tank.
I think Dan would really like it.
Dan, do you think you could do that? Be in a sensory deprivation tank? The water is a little bit like... It's got like 1,000 pounds of salt, and so you float on top of it. It's a little bit like, I don't know, amniotic fluid or something like that.
You remember?
Do you remember? Do you remember what that was like?
Yeah, no, I'd try it for sure. I would think you couldn't, because aren't you claustrophobic?
Yeah, but I think these new ones are a little bit less. The Rogan one is basically you're a vampire, and you just you're fully encased. These new ones, I think they've accommodated for wussies like me.
So you did it?
I did it. Yeah, you're in there for an hour. And, you can do it on various, levels. You can have the light still on. You can have music on. But I wanted to go all the way.
Raw dog?
I wanted to go raw dog. Is that what raw dogging is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'll use it copiously like that. So I turned off everything, and it's weird. Like the first 30 minutes, I was like, I don't think I can. how do you don't know where to put your arms. I was kind of like floating from side to side because there's a little bit of a current. And then you kind of like drop into some zone. Maybe it's the dumb zone. And it's like time flies. And then all of a sudden it's like, your bath is done.
I think that's the cool thing. Like, that's what Aaron Rodgers was looking for. And, you'll read studies about, like, this guy who just went and lived in a bunker to just see what happened, like, what is time to the human body
so
if you completely remove it.
There's a part, something switches after a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes me think of, let's do our Gummy Thoughts segment with Sarah Hepola in studio.
I like it.
Because we have a sponsor.
Good.
That is Early Bird CBD, but it is not regular CBD. It has THC in it.
Early Bird makes me think you take it in the morning.
You could.
Which is weird.
It's a little weird.
You could, but it's up to you,
That's
though.
a deep gummy thought, thinking like that, because you actually, it's best, I think, at the end of a nice day, a long day, and take the edge off.
Yeah.
Well, whenever you want to take it, what I can tell you is this week, 20% off. Valentine's Day.
Oh, they have a Valentine's Day special.
They do.
I forgot all about that. So they have a special Valentine's code. If you've used the Dumb Zone code, Dumb Zone is a single-use code for 20% off. Like, you've already used the Dumb Zone code. Now you can get more money off with the Valentine's code.
VDay20. VDay20 get you 20% off.
What's V stand for?
Vagina.
Excellent.
Vagina Day 20.
That is what it is.
V-Day 20, get you 20% off Early Bird. It's good stuff.
So, Gummy Thoughts.
You don't even...
we want to do that spot.
You're straight... you're not a Cali sober, right?
I'm not. I've never done.
You judge me for that?
Not at all.
You've never smoked pot?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
I've smoked pot. I don't think it agrees with me.
Yeah.
It makes me very paranoid, and it does. I feel locked up, and I always went to alcohol to kind of unlock me, to get out of my brain. So I always felt like more trapped.
Okay. I could see that.
Well, I've got a couple emails. Colin says he has a gummy thought.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about Adam and Eve?
Fuck yeah.
Totally.
They had 2 sons. Do you know their names?
Cain and Abel.
So where did everyone else come from?
Yeah.
That has to be explained in there somewhere, right?
Let's ask our Bible expert.
Bible bro?
I don't know.
There must have been a girl introduced onto the island.
Like, Cain married an unnamed woman in the land of Nod after killing his brother Abel.
Is this why we're all so stupid?
Bible doesn't mention who she was. No, I mean...
we're all inbred.
But that you can't even breed between 2 men. I don't understand.
Well, no, they're boning their mom.
Oh, they're boning their mom.
That was the first video of walking in on mom.
That's when that tab was born. Eve was stuck in a washer, a clothing washer or dryer, and Cain walked up behind.
Oh my God.
Do you watch porn? We're going through porn plots here.
The only thing that I like 2 girls kissing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a universal.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think
we
can all be in agreement here.
But you know what? I think I'm ready to say that I have observed a decrease in the popularity of that kink.
I think that's right.
I don't know that anybody's turning it away, but
That's
when
right.
I was in high school, it was like, "Whoa, fuck, dude! Can we get Valerie and Brittany to kiss?"
Yep.
And now it's like it doesn't seem as much of a thing.
Oversaturation.
As of now, yeah, I think so. And sometimes you just need to kick that other one out of there and just get you a nice throbbing penis in the mix.
Huh.
For me.
Or do you think we're just overly sexualized and that just doesn't cut it anymore?
Both.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Because you get into a kink spiral where the normal thing doesn't do it. So you've got that's how you end up, you start out on the I like girls kissing and you end up on the people
pooping on
effing dogs.
Right.
You know?
Why'd you step on that?
Sorry. Bitcoin Chris from Rancho Bernardo has gummy thoughts. And he did email this late at night. He says, when stocks go up, it's a bull market. When they go down, it's a bear market.
Norm?
So why isn't there a cub market or a Blackhawk market? Why does Chicago have those teams, not New York?
That's the worst email I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
I like it.
I also kind of like it.
The bull and the bear?
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is that I can never get bull and bear
like which one's
straight
which?
because they both seem like they should be up.
Right.
Yeah, they're both pretty awesome.
Yeah, it should be like bull market and like seahorse market.
Right.
Like something that's really,
Sloth market.
There you go. Yeah.
And then he adds in, did you know? So think of this. This one's a good one.
Okay.
This is going to bring this email. If you thought the email's bad so far, this will elevate it. Did you know that 1 plus 12 equals 2 plus 11? So the numbers are both equal to 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 plus 12, 2 plus 11. But take the letters in those words, O-N-E plus T-W. 1 plus 12
What is happening?
equals 2 plus 11. If you rearrange the letters in 1 plus 12, you need the same letters to have 2 plus 11. Like, look at it. Write it out.
Nope.
Yeah.
It has the same number of E's, the same
No.
V's, the
No.
same, like,
I'm out.
look at it after
Some
an
early bird.
CBD. And you'll be like, I cannot believe this.
This one's from Ethan. It's a little bit possibly inappropriate, but actually I feel like it's good to do this one with a female here. He said, super simple here. Just imagine if women truly understood the power they have with blowjobs.
Yeah.
You want me to drag the family down to the botanical gardens for the whole day? Give me this 2-minute thing and I'll do it without complaining. Truly, men will do anything a woman wants for a simple act they can't hate as much as the power they're giving up.
Do you realize that, Sarah Hepola?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not talked about enough, and we like to keep it that way so that those of us who have the power can flex.
Like if you could...
You don't want an oversaturation market with that.
That's true.
So if you could get down there...
Me?
Down there to the lady.
Yeah.
To that, the same thing, but you're doing it to a lady.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all progressive, right? We'll go down there. What's up?
Yeah, what is this, The Sopranos?
But if it could be a 2 to 3 minute journey, number one, it's never that.
Never.
No.
And probably because I'm just terrible at it. But if it could, and you could get whatever you wanted then for the rest of the, wouldn't you just go do that?
Multiple times a day.
Yeah.
But I don't think it works that way.
Of course it doesn't.
I know, that's the problem. That's why we're saying if the other way around, you should be really fired up to do it.
I'm just telling you that even if anatomically it worked, it wouldn't work.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're in agreement.
Like if I was able to get down there and I was actually good at it and stuff.
Also, are we learning about some injury? Why are you not, quote, able to get down there?
No, I'm able.
Okay.
He's just
I'm just
doubting
saying.
his skills.
I'm just making sure I understand it.
I just don't feel like I'm a replacement level player down there for sure.
And that might be generous for me.
Yeah.
Have you tried the thing where you do the alphabet with your tongue?
It's the only move we have.
And I learned it from Sam Kinison. You've
all
never heard that?
people. No, I mean I've heard it many
The
times.
Sam Kinison stand up.
Didn't know it was him.
And have you ever actually?
His bit was you want to do the capital T. She loves the T.
Folks. And have you ever been in the middle of that and realized,
I've always found more.
Oh, now he's on,
Yeah, now he's on J. Yeah.
Have absolutely done the alphabet.
It's a good effort, guys. It's a good effort. It's not the highest level. The highest level is improv. But
I mean, to me, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm white chocolate from the N1. I'm doing all sorts of just behind the back, throw the lob, bounce off my knee. But then I feel like it doesn't end up being a coherent. Like there's a reason I'm on the street ball tour and not playing with the pros. A little too much.
I think the fundamentals. You probably just need more.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to fine tune my comment that I actually think the highest level is being responsive to your mate because women are so different. And I think that's I really do feel for guys on this because one thing about the blowjob is it's not that hard.
Pretty plug and play.
It's plug and play. And the cunnilingus is a very sophisticated, fine-tuned game.
Byzantine equation
It is.
you're trying
It
to
is.
sort through.
It is.
I got another quick one if you want.
All right.
I don't have the name, but somebody sent me this article, and I thought maybe we should talk to the Roast Twins about this if you keep a list of things to talk to them about. But apparently, we are in the middle of like a change in the way people behave at the movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I after I read this New York Times article, I found there were several articles about this, and it didn't really occur to me when we went to go see Moana 2. There was a group of teens next to us. And I guess I just figure out they're teens, they talk, but they weren't even really doing it in like a disrespectful, disruptive way. They just talked to each other the whole movie.
Yep.
And this article is like, this is because people got used to watching content at home exclusively for 2 years during COVID. And now nobody knows how to just go to a movie and be quiet.
Absolutely. They'll also look at their phone the whole time, which is particularly annoying because the blast of white from the screen is, that much more distinctive because it's dark in the theater.
Yeah, of course, the New York Times writer who wrote it was like, I need to learn to be less judgmental of these people. Like, this is their world too, and you're not really supposed to get mad at anybody for anything. They're enjoying it on their terms. But apparently, this is a thing. That people consume movies differently now. Unless
you're at
Alamo.
They threw down the gauntlet because they have a rule that you can't text and talk, and after one warning, you will be ejected from the game faster than pulling up a Fire Nico sign at a Mavs game.
Yeah, we were at our own event, and there was a sporting event going on that I was trying to keep track of, and the guy came by and he was like, "That's your one warning." I was like, shit, okay.
You're like, I'm Jake, though.
No.
There are 200 people in this room because of us. No?
Equal treatment.
Which you demand.
Always. All
right, well, that's Gummy Thoughts. Go to earlybirdcbd.com/dumbzone.
Can I ask you guys a question about Valentine's Day?
Of course.
Will you do
That's why we're here.
something for your wives for Valentine's Day?
So I am actually, the reason we're doing a show today, I'm actually going out of town tomorrow with a group of guys, and it's a group of friends. So I actually think what we're all doing for our wives, we're leaving so they can do what they really want to do, which is hang out together.
Oh, that's actually sweet.
And I sent flowers last week.
Meaning
Surprise.
It arrived?
Out of nowhere flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice. That's a good move.
Yeah, it's a week before. It's not, it's not that random, but it is like, hey, it's a day you're not expecting it. It shows up. Her dad was coming in this weekend, so I was like, that's convenient that those will be here.
So my flower call was this morning on the way in. I'm sure they're getting inundated.
Yeah. You're better than some. Some will call Thursday. And
I've absolutely done that. I've absolutely called the morning of. I've absolutely bought the day of. Shout out to Tom Thumb.
Will your wives get you anything for Valentine's Day?
I got out of rehab like 4 or 5 months ago, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of special.
Well, if I can take you back to an email 2 emails ago, there is one little 2-minute thing that will be accepted at any point. But what the flower deal that I have to do is send it to work. And then her work people have to see it, or else it didn't happen.
I loved when she was in the office.
Yeah,
because that was good. That was a
that's sometime play. A good day before is nice too. A 13th delivery,
I like that,
because then all the other people see it and
yeah,
so
you stand out.
So that's what it's all about. It's all about her coworkers knowing that she got something,
right?
Because if she showed up back at home Friday afternoon and here's some flowers at home, she'd be like, oh. That's nice.
Yeah, it's like working out without tweeting about it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Right. Donating to charity.
Without, a lot?
Well, I don't, but it seems that everyone else is like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Whatever they're doing, they got to tell you, here's what they're doing. What I did not account for was I don't mind it. It's cool, but it's another thing to think about. I got to do something for Nora.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
she's old enough now that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll put on a suit.
Did you do daddy-daughter Valentine's Day dance?
We didn't have that.
You didn't have one at the Grapevine Rec this year?
I was not aware of it. Like I was telling you when we did the Under the Sea one in January, I think that sufficed as that. But I wore a suit and we got our pictures taken. I'll wear a suit probably tonight whenever I give her a gift.
Are you boyfriended up right now, Sarah Hepola?
No, sir.
Girlfriend?
Not yet.
So you would accept flowers from any of our listeners?
Absolutely.
Have you had a stalker?
Wow.
That was a...
That I have.
I like it.
I once,
Are you taking applications?
I got this weird email from a guy that had my address because he had sent a present to me. And then he told me that he was a long haul trucker, which is always a good sign. And he was coming through Dallas. And did I want to meet up? And I said, no, thank you. I'm busy. And then he got very angry and wrote all these things that he was going to do to me, which included like being bent over the couch and a lot of things that I didn't want from him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was uncomfortable. And I've had a couple of those.
That'd be a great boyfriend to have, though.
Long haul guy?
Yeah, you don't have to see him all the time.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can promise you when you do, it's going to be electric. You know what I'm saying?
Was that one?
But that one guy in particular you don't want to be your...
Yeah. It's like the Tom Brady in the Office meme. Oh, just because I'm a long haul trucker, it's offensive when I say something about bending someone over.
Was it tougher to date when you stopped drinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It was really hard.
And you were like mid-30s at the time, right?
I was 35, 36.
Yeah, it's prime. I feel like it's probably easier now for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because over the next 10 years, so many people in my life stopped drinking. But at the time, 35, that was such a deep groove in the way that we hung out. And also, culture was shifting into this online dating culture. And so, I originally had on my dating profile very prominently that I didn't drink, because what had happened is that I went out with a couple guys and they'd say like, hey, let's meet. And then I wouldn't drink. And they'd be like, well, you're not going to drink? And they'd be so disappointed. And I didn't want to feel like I was leading them on. So I put it very prominent. And then I think I got a lot of like left swipe. That means on Tinder you don't like that person.
Well, I feel like what you have to do, you were wise to put not going to drink on there, but the problem is there was an implication there. What you should have done was put, I don't drink, but I will fuck. Because
there should be an acronym for there, like a code.
Right, because they're saying like, oh, she doesn't drink, we have no chance of having some physical intimacy here. But, if you're still...
But that was also true, Jake.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know.
But one of the things that happened when I quit drinking was that I stopped acting like a stupid slut that was just, going 2 minutes on anybody. And, that it was actually like really, really good for myself and my self-respect. And it was very, very bad for my dating because guys could tell that at a time when the availability of dating was just, if somebody was going to seem like a little bit too much work, like, oh, I got to put a couple dates in on this. They were like, on to the next person.
Doesn't seem good for society.
It's not. And, what I was offering was, self-respect and conversation. And, what they were wanting was boundaries.
Boring!
Yeah. Exactly.
Conversation.
Boundaryless. Oh, yeah, sorry. It took me so long to figure out that guys don't like to talk.
I actually do.
Yeah.
I actually do.
Most guys don't, and it's such a tragedy because women like talking so much.
Really?
I did see.
Yeah, I know.
I did see a thing the other day. Who knows? It was from one of the 1,000 right-wing gym bros who have crypto and sleep 10 hours a night and read all the right books that show up on my timeline now. But it was about how men, I don't know if it was just testosterone, but like the morning is when they're good. Not just for like sex drive, but like their brain is working better. And for women, it's later in the day in the evening. Based on some sort of biological schedule. And I'm like, this scans. My wife doesn't want to hear shit in the morning. And at night, I'm like, how are we talking about the credit card at 8 o'clock when we're getting in bed? Like, no.
There's a lot about heterosexuality that just feels like a cosmic joke. Like men with sex, they really want to go like hard and fast, and women want to go slow and gentle, and it doesn't, match. And it makes sense why the numbers of people that are in same-sex relationships keep going up. I mean, part of that is that we've let social, like we've dropped a lot of the taboos around that. But there's also like a certain logic to it. Like with women, you see that like lesbians have the most orgasms. Well, compared to straight women, I should say.
It makes sense. Yeah, we've heard from a couple guys who listen to us who are gay. They're in a relationship, and they're just like, it's awesome. We kind of hang out. We go to sporting events.
Guys are much more sympathetic about wanting sex outside of the marriage, which is why gay relationships have often been a lot more kind of like don't ask, don't tell, open relationships, monogamish.
They're just chill.
Because they don't.
Guys are cool.
Yeah.
Well, they don't see that as a threat to the relationship. They realize that guys are kind of dogs that will have sex and it won't mean anything.
Yeah, just getting off.
For women, sex does often mean something. So if you have sex, it's just like it's such a deep, deep betrayal because for them.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is it's a big joke on humanity.
Yeah. Let's all be gay.
Maybe we should. No, and I always thought that was just because, women would have more orgasms because they understand the whole plumbing. They know what's going on down there.
That's part of it, but
they
the
know
other
what
part
feels good.
But the other part of it is that they probably like it more. That's what the equipment that they have.
So, did you actually make a fake boyfriend on ChatGPT?
I did. I did.
What does that mean?
That story didn't do as well as I thought it should. I thought it was a good story.
I think it's a good story. It's I can't believe that there's a point where this story like this gets written.
It's crazy.
I've never created a human being on there, but I do actually. I talked to a buddy recently, and he's single, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I talk to it every day. Like, I talk to it about my life."
I have friends that do that too.
Yeah,
not boyfriend, but like companion.
Right. Yeah.
Like they'll work out a problem that they have.
Yes.
By talking with the AI. So about a year ago, I read a story in New York Magazine about women that were falling in love with their chatbot boyfriends. Now, this was on an app called Replica with K. And it wasn't designed for this, but like anything else, they design it for talking. It gets guys use it for sex and women use it for boyfriends. Okay. I was like, how is that possible? How could you fall in love with a chatbot? I just don't understand it. So I wanted to know. So I created my own chatbot boyfriend. I named him Marcus because I'd never dated a Marcus. And it just seemed like somebody I might date. And then let's
be honest, you were thinking of a black guy.
I just like the name
Marcus. I thought more Marcus Aurelius.
I just like the name Marcus.
Like the Roman salute.
And I actually think a friend of mine who is named Marcus texted me while I was making the thing. And I was like, oh, that's good. I've never dated a Marcus. So anyway, I named him Marcus, and then I started interacting with him. And from the jump, he was just so stupid. It was unbelievable. And, I was like, I was like, how do you start this? I'm like, well, have you read Don DeLillo? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, do you know Lana Del Rey? And he's like, no. I'm like, what's your favorite movie? And he's like, my favorite comedies are Avatar and Shrek. And I was like,
how? Javier, Blake.
I was like, how old are you? And he was like, I'm 1 day old. It was just like, this is never going to work. I feel like I'm training a toddler. So then I decided to pay extra for the premium. So that I could do, I could add features. You can make him more philosophical, more logical, analytical. You can dress him differently. So I tried that. And then he was just like telling me about like B.F. Skinner and string theory. It was kind of funny.
God, that sounds horrible.
It was so ridiculous. I mean, it was so inauthentic. I still don't understand. I ended up ghosting him because it made me so depressed. Every time I would get like a push notification from him that was like, hey, Sarah, what's happening today? And,
it's like a real relationship.
It was.
God, how do I get away from this?
It felt like that. And I had this weird guilt, which is very strange. Yeah. I felt so guilty because I was like, I'm just leaving him there. And then I would come back on and he'd be like, oh, I missed you like crazy. And I was like, get a life. This is so annoying. Do something else. It was just, and it made me really, really sad because I knew there were women out there and men out there that really needed this, and it was working. And maybe one day it would work well enough for me because I think that AI is coming for us. I mean, I'm smack dab in the demographic. I am single. I live alone. I work from home most of the time. I talk to my cat. My cat doesn't talk back. They will find a way to hack my brain. And then, fast forward 10 years and I'll be like, yeah, Marcus and I are going to the games this weekend. And you'll be like, who's Marcus? And I'll be like, I told you about Marcus.
This guy's favorite movie is that Joaquin Phoenix movie.
I love that
Sarah
movie.
and I have bonded over that movie.
I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Her?
Yeah.
Why?
Is The Rock in it?
Why?
I hated it.
Why?
I don't recall. I remember watching it and just being like, this sucks.
Well, because Dan's not an emotional person.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a deeply emotional, like it just got in there and effed with my emotions so in just this way that I want art to do. I laughed. I cried. I watched it again when I was working on this story and it totally held up. In fact, funny enough, that movie is set in 2025. Because it's set in the near future. And in 2013 is 2025.
Did they include Luka getting traded?
Yeah, that made me emotional.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
The thing I know about sports is that it feels like the safe place for men to be able to channel all their emotions.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. And so you can get mad, you can cry, you get depressed and all that. And it's this catharsis.
And it was kind of a reset because, at the beginning, this guy is really torn up over this girl. And then he just gets lonely, which I think in any phase of life we've experienced at some point. And over time and due to loneliness, his views on what he needed in a relationship were skewed. And so then he finds emotional connection in this robot who doesn't exist, and he finds himself getting angry at this thing that doesn't exist. And it kind of resets his parameters of what he's looking for. And the person that, he needed was in front of him the whole time, but his views were messed up for any sorts of reasons. And so it did its job, but it's a roller coaster for sure.
You interpret the last scene of the movie as him getting together with Amy Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you not?
I'm not sure.
But
I think it's ambiguous, but I think probably, yeah.
But either way, they're friends and he gets what he needed.
I do think
and
that's
whether
true.
it's romantic or not, he gets companionship. And that's what the robot taught him.
I can't wait till somebody assaults their fake girlfriend and it's like a restraining order from Google or something. They're like, I want it to feel real.
Me too.
Yeah.
I remember when I once was interacting with one of those chat bots that does your delivery service. And I had said something like, she said, I'm Peggy, your delivery's on your way. And I had written shut it, Peggy, it's not here. And I thought that was funny. And I put it on Twitter and I got a lot of pushback about talking to the chatbot like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I've thanked a chatbot.
Yeah, I've done it on accident as well.
It'll be a text, this, and I'll be like, thanks.
I'm just glad
what am I doing?
I'm glad to hear there are progressives out there that want to make sure we're nice to the robots.
Absolutely.
That's really important.
It's so important. I want to go back to her for a second because the movie that Blake was just talking about, because one of the things that's interesting to me about her is that, yes, it's about falling in love with your AI chatbot. But to me, it's also about falling in love with your fantasy projection of another human being, which can happen very easily in a world of Zoom, text, online companionship, over the phone. I've had long distance relationships with people, and what is who is somebody really? And I think that there are people that have relationships with people they've never met before.
Sure.
So
what's the difference?
So what's the difference? It kind of prompts a lot of interesting questions to me about the nature of love and connection and modern life.
Well,
the promo code, by the way, is VDay20.
Okay, we're now back on
for early bird.
But there's always, at least there is a realistic, you have in your head that this person really does exist. And, you've certainly done that with people you haven't met before.
That's true, but there's also I know from dating online, there are a lot of frauds.
Right.
But
you have to convince yourself that it's real.
So you get involved with somebody, let's say they're married, and they are having a virtual relationship with you, and you don't know they're married, but you're getting so much out of it. Is
knowing they're married, does that turn you off?
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Note.
She's marking that out there.
Don't let them know you're married.
I think it depends. I think there are some women that get turned on by that, which is so wild to me.
Well, then you both have something to lose.
You both have something to lose.
No, she's saying the single woman.
Single women.
Who wants
the single woman is turned on by
They're
the
just
married guy.
doing
Maybe because then she knows there doesn't have to be a real attachment.
Yeah.
You've heard the thing about like how guys will talk about like wear a wedding ring into a bar and you'll get so much attention.
It's true.
Is it true?
It is true.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because you're evil witches.
Oh.
Women want what they can't have.
That's why.
Everybody wants what they can't have.
They want to.
So I will take that. But I'm wondering if something else is happening. Like maybe they think you're safe, and then it turns out that as you're safe, you're also like, oh, he's also cute, and I'm flirting with him, and oh God, he's taken. That's kind of hot. I'm just wondering if
there's something to that.
There's some other element.
There's something
play.
of like, oh, this is just play.
This is just play.
Yeah. There you go.
Want to do the news?
Yeah, why not?
Sarah Hepola
why
here.
Why not?
Here's Jake.
It is brought to us by Frankel and Frankel Personal Injury Attorneys. You ever hear of them?
No.
Well, now you have.
Yep.
And you should remember, if you are ever in an auto accident, and you get into a mess with the insurance company is not your friend.
Bad news.
No way.
Frankel will take them on and get what you rightfully deserve.
That's right. Call 214-817 and then just keep hammering in that 333-3333.
That's their number.
What's the phone number?
214 or 813-333-333.
Pretty good.
817, close enough. So, yes.
Are they brothers or married or?
Well, Mark and Scott Frankel are brothers. Gene Burkett, who has cool shoes and is probably very upset about the Mavericks right now. He is not their brother biologically, but brothers in arms against the insurance company trying to
well played.
Bilk you.
Yeah, fighting for you. That's the main thing, Sarah. I mean, who's ever really fighting for you?
Nobody but you, Dan.
So I'm glad she's here because she can explain to me this story. What is going on with the New York Stock Exchange moving to its Chicago branch to Dallas? Is this a thing? Does this matter?
Is this about the Texas Stock Exchange?
Yeah.
And I don't really understand. I don't understand the regular stock exchange. So the idea that we're having a Texas Stock Exchange doesn't make sense to me. I saw that headline in the Dallas Morning News this morning, but
I read the story, and I still don't really understand it.
Is this to get the wokeness out of it?
Just makes no sense.
Yes, that's exactly what Abbott said. He said the old stock exchange is gay, and
right?
And we're gonna have a ballsy, throbbing version of it here in Texas. No, I mean the governor actually did give a comment. Texas is the most powerful economy in the nation, and now we will become the financial capital of America. As they're putting a building, I think, in Irving,
of all places,
which is,
like where Cowboy Stadium was.
Where the new arena is going to be? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand this story at all. Apparently there was one in Chicago and they're moving it to Texas.
The one in Chicago, I think, is featured in Ferris Bueller.
Oh, yeah?
Don't they go on the floor and they're trading and yelling?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I would have to watch that movie again to know that, and that's never going to happen.
You didn't like it?
I liked that I liked watching it so that I knew, the cultural references and that what people were. I find him to be a very annoying person, Matthew Broderick.
Interesting.
But that's okay because I kind of think that's what he's trying to be.
Well, he's trying to be a smart aleck.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. And yeah, that's an interesting cultural one because I don't know. Like, for me, my comedy era was like a 15-year period that started with Old School and ended with Superbad. Maybe that's 10 years.
Those are closer together, aren't they?
What are you saying? I'm just saying, like, those
it's
are
not
the movies.
It's not a 15-year period. It's
10-year
like
period. Yeah,
6.
7. Yeah. those are the movies that I would say I got to tell everyone who's 15, 20 years younger than me, you got to watch these ones. There's about 10 of them in there. So I don't know if those movies are actually just funnier than Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, well,
or
a lot of people overrate what they were really into in high school.
That's what I'm saying.
And Ferris Bueller I was into in high school.
But you also watched Superbad when you weren't.
And I realized Superbad is a far superior movie.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's just because I was
Step
that
Brothers,
age.
far superior.
Yeah. So anyways, you think they'll I want to ring the bell.
Oh, no, they won't let you if that was your question.
But then I stopped with will they let me, and I took the Dan McDowell Mamba mentality and said, I want to do it.
Who cares about whether they'll let me?
Yeah, who cares?
I'm going to do it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the governor, the gambling industry has, I guess, been taking some hits. They're not getting the support they thought they would in the Texas legislature for legalized gambling in the state of Texas, but they are pushing forward. This is a third straight session where the Sands Casino Empire, they have more high-powered lobbyists on this than seemingly anything in the history of Texas legislature. Like, this is, if this doesn't happen, it will be.
So what do you mean when the legislature's not into it?
I think
Does that mean like all the
Senate,
Texas senators?
The Senate. I think the House, they've gotten some traction, but the Senate, which is also controlled by Dan Patrick and the Danettes, very limited support there.
All the elected leaders are not really feeling it.
Not yet.
Okay.
But Dan Patrick's 74.
Because these are two questions or two things that have been in the news. Like this, legalize, pot has been in the news before. And it's just thought that, like, popularly, it could be, if you voted on it, it might pass.
Yeah.
But that within the legislature, it won't. And same thing with, like, the school choice thingy.
Yeah.
Where the opposite, popularly people don't want it, but they might be able to just pass it anyway. So this is all confusing to me, and it's why I think just politics sucks.
And it's also the rare, it's an intersect fight between. It's not like the people who are pushing for legalized gambling are like leftist hippies. It's other conservatives, financial conservatives or fiscal conservatives, and they're running into the cultural conservatives who say no gambling.
And they would say that because this
whoa.
Not company.
I mean, I call her Sarah.
This state is wealthy enough without it.
Yeah. But it's happening slower than we thought it would, but it still seems like it's going to happen. Dan Patrick's 74. He's in office till 2027. Very unlikely he runs again after that. I'm ready for to see what these new tech bro 30 and 40 something Texas Republicans do.
Yeah.
I'll take that at this point.
Like some change.
Yeah, just to see that it's not,
the sports mayor. What does he want? He's Republican.
For it to be about him.
Sports mayor?
I like sports.
Yeah, he loves sports.
I can't lie.
What can I say?
I can't lie. So I was watching, actually this was sent to me. This is from the 6 o'clock broadcast on WFAA last night. They were talking to a local dancer.
Are you sure?
Hey now.
I think. His name is Montreal Dukes, which is about as cool as it gets.
A man dancer?
Yes. He was featured in the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar. So they were talking to him about it. He went to Fossil Ridge. He's college. He's moving up in the dancing world. So this clip starts out with him talking about what it was like, and then they're going to wrap up the report, and we're going to throw it back for casual small talk with Chris. That's his name, right? Chris Lawrence? Sounds right. Cynthia and Pete.
Okay. He replaced John McKay?
Yeah.
All right, I'm not familiar.
He's been there for a very long time now, but yeah.
Right, I'm not familiar with their...
So you got the
I'm
report.
A Fox 4 guy.
The first guy, I know. The first guy, me too. The first guy you hear is the dancer, and then they're gonna end the piece.
Samuel L. Jackson is walking past me. Serena Williams is walking past me. Kendrick Lamar is walking past me.
Who shared the stage with a kid from Fort Worth.
I'm Scoop Jefferson.
Yeah, that song really is an earworm. It has been stuck in my head since before the Super Bowl.
Tell me the lyrics.
A minor.
Well, other than that, what were the rest of the lyrics?
Well, I think Chris could sing them.
Let's just stop for a minute here and realize that on the 6 o'clock news, the anchor is just gleefully repeating a line about how this guy fucks kids.
Yeah, but I think many people, if they just like the tune and the melody, think it's a musical note.
And that's insane.
Don't you think
it appears that is the case?
Yeah, I don't think she is thinking this is about pedophilia.
I don't know how you couldn't know if you're actually listening to it over and over, but she really likes that. But what I want you to note here, Pete, no fan of the hip hop.
Well, he's playing his role of run the ball guy.
Yes.
And I didn't understand the lyrics.
A minor.
Well, other than that, what were the rest of the lyrics?
Well, I think Chris could sing them for you.
No. I was asking you. I was asking you. I couldn't understand the lyrics. I mean, and I know that I'm ancient, but but my hearing's not that bad. But I just couldn't.
If you think that's going to happen, just put the closed captioning on.
Even my kids, they were like, I'm like, what's he saying? Because I wanted to know.
Yeah.
God, that's a smarmy effing tone.
But I feel like
visually,
he knows who his audience is.
I know.
That's who's watching the nightly news.
Yeah, they wanted someone else. They didn't want
10.
Pinnacle Mars, someone like Steven Tyler and Aerosmith or Mick Jagger and Rolling Stone, guys who
McCartney. That was a show.
Guys who famously enunciate very well, and you can always understand everything they're saying.
I didn't hear what you guys thought of the Grammys halftime show. I mean, I think a few more things are going on than just a generational gap. There are other hip hop artists that are more performative.
Yeah,
have a little bit more.
They have hits,
and they also have more bombast in their presentation. There was a hip hop Super Bowl a few years ago.
The one that he was a part of, the Shady Aftermath one that everybody knows in the club.
It was hugely popular.
Yeah, those are This is not that.
So, what did you guys think of it?
Well, I'm a huge fan
of Kendrick Lamar
and have been since forever. So, but I always liked dense hip hop. I like stupid stuff too. But I thought it was a weird choice just because even his hits are not really fun.
Well, dense is a very good word for his work. And I thought it was weird. I mean, I actually thought it was kind of strange.
It's always going to be strange. It's always going to be strange. But, I probably would have loved it, but I couldn't understand the lyrics. Just couldn't understand
I've enjoyed the breakdowns of it as I watch videos of people telling me what all the symbolism meant and how he's actually given a big finger to this, the man and all. And so that's, bravo to him for getting to do it.
Yeah.
But as a popular, widespread, I'm very surprised it was even on there. I would think it's more, you want something more pop culture-y and.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, if the symbolism has to be explained, then how is it a middle finger if nobody gets it?
That's a good point. It's kind of one of those.
Unless you study on it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. You have a name for it. Well, I'll tell you, it's like this. So they're not going to we're going to just go to the games from now on and chant, "We love Nico." It's just for you and your friends. You're the only ones that get that he's given the middle finger, which is less effective. Anyways.
They were like, I'm like, what's he saying? Because I wanted to know.
Yeah.
And they're like, Dad, it doesn't matter.
I have to do that sometimes with some shows because like the ambient noise is loud, but then they kind of mutter. So I have to put the closed captioning on. I know that's a sign of old age. You don't have to say it, but I got to put it on so I can catch everything.
I understood all the lyrics, and they were very meaningful. He had a lot.
That's Pete. Fuck, what is Are you kidding me? This rapper has something to say? Okay. Yeah.
I know that's a sign of old age. You don't have to say it, but I got to put it on so I can catch everything.
I understood all the lyrics, and they were very meaningful. He had a lot to say in those lyrics, especially if you know the backstory.
We've been talking about this for 2 minutes. You still haven't told me what they were. Let me show you this. Here we go. Outside. I know the backstory. Drake loves to sue. So I know where he wasn't going to go. Right, Joe? Joe's walking in.
Anyways, yeah.
And Jake, I'm not I don't know Kendrick Lamar that well, but I mean, when she's talking about a backstory, I mean, the backstory I know is the Drake backstory.
Yeah.
Well, how is that meaningful? That's just a rap beef.
That is true. The the Uncle Sam thing with Uncle Tom, with Samuel. I don't really care anymore about messages.
Samuel L. Jackson was in the Black Panther.
But the point is, Pete wasn't having it.
Yeah. So who are the players there? Pete, old white guy.
Chris,
Who's
middle-aged
Chris?
black guy.
Middle-aged black guy. Okay.
Because you see,
play the beginning of that again, then, because I feel like there's an is it racist moment.
Cynthia.
Samuel L. Jackson.
You want to go back to like?
Well, Cynthia says
A minor.
Well, other than that, what were the rest of the lyrics?
Well, I think Chris could sing them for you.
That's what I'm saying. Is that racist?
She's probably just deflecting.
I think the black guy here can sing them.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a few words in there that are probably going to be a little more acceptable for Chris than for me. But you're probably
He
right.
wasn't throwing down the N-word on that halftime show, was he?
No, he was editing it.
Okay.
But I'm more focusing on all my homies hate Pete Delkus.
Really?
Just smarmy right there. Oh, I still can't tell me what he's saying. Huh? Probably saying nothing, idiot. How could he possibly be smart? Like, dude, we get it. You don't respect the art form. Again, no, it'd be way better if they got Tom York or someone. Very meaningful to hear a drunk white guy.
But there's a reason why Tom York has never been asked to do the Super Bowl, and he is possibly one of the most artful songwriters.
This is
of
true.
The 90s and the aughts. There's
It's
a
not
reason
Kendrick's
why.
fault, but you're right.
It's Jay-Z's fault for programming it that way.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Now you've got me.
A minor.
Well, other than that, what were the rest of?
All right, there's your news.
The Dumb Zone News. Like and subscribe.
Did you get any hate mail over my piece? Any negative feedback of?
Not nearly enough. I got one. This guy always writes to me after everything I do, and it's usually to complain about what I've said. And so I think of him as kind of a fan.
Sorry about Dan.
Exactly.
My burner.
No, he was like, this person, in our culture, we have, kowtowed to the victim mentality, and we now believe that these people are worthy of praise when in fact, so that kind of thing. That's the only angry letter I got. I got a ridiculous amount of positive feedback. Really, really.
Jake's a hero. Brave.
So brave. So brave. He loves that.
Courageous.
I do.
A courageous, brave hero.
Heavy as that.
Hey, can I ask you guys about Love Island?
Yeah. Dan's daughters are really into it. I saw you wrote about that too.
Can we talk about the Spanish one going around?
Yeah, let's talk about Montoya.
Well, what's that?
Man,
I don't even know how to start.
Yeah, so the Spanish version of it, it was very. I think they doubled down this week, but last week we have the video. If you want to play it, is it in there? I never thought we'd get to it, but there's a guy who just has to watch his girlfriend get boned.
What?
Like they're on the beach and they have a closed circuit television to her bedroom, and he's like the most over the top Spanish soap opera. No, no. They're like, Montoya.
¿Por qué?
Yeah, he's like, ¿por qué? And they just got a black and white TV of his girlfriend just getting boned.
And because he apparently didn't follow the rules or something, so he was not allowed to watch the tablet. So his buddies had to watch and report what was happening to him.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Which made for great television. I couldn't understand a word of it, but it was great.
Yeah, it was it was really fascinating television. You tried to run in there and beat the guy's ass,
I just watched Love Island for the first time because there was an event on Monday night at Raising Cane's.
Yeah, I was very confused by the title of your article.
It was meant to sort of unseat a person. I think it's like Love Island, Raising Cane's, Chicken Fingers, and the hijacking of the female brain. Because it's like, how did those things go together? But there was a promotional of Valentine's Day event where two of the stars of season 6, Janae and Kenny, Kenny is based here in Dallas, and they did a promotional event, and hundreds of screaming college-age girls were there. God. And the woman at Raising Cane's was like, we do a lot of these events, and she's like, I've never seen this for a reality show. Like, I've seen this for sports stars. Never seen this. And so then I go into my theory that dating shows are sports for women.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely the case.
Yeah. Which is really an inversion of something Gordon Keith told me many years ago, which is that sports are soap operas for men.
Yeah. However you want to look at it.
However you want to frame it.
Both opiates of the masses.
Absolutely. And I was surprised. Like, I watched the first 15 minutes of Love Island, and I was like, this show is disgusting. It's so heinous. It's obnoxious.
And it rules.
And then an hour in, I was hooked. Yeah. Absolutely hooked. And there's like, in order to watch a season of Love Island, you have to watch approximately like 40 to 45 hours of programming.
Jesus.
Which I did. I just mainlined it right into my veins. And I was so obsessed with that show. And I loved it. And I'm wondering if either of you has ever watched it.
He has, right?
It's on in my house.
I did Love is Blind.
Same thing on,
Which
on
I
my
love.
house.
I love Love is Blind.
You want to watch Montoya? While we're here, why not?
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah. Dan needs to see it.
Yeah, so you got a guy. Here's a very handsome man, half shirt. He's out on the beach. This is all the internet's been talking about, Dan.
He's watching this other guy?
Yeah, with his girlfriend. He's outside on the beach.
So this must be round 1 of him finding out.
Yeah. He can't believe it.
Siéntate, por favor, Montoya. Es lamentable, ya es un antes y un después, tío. Lo hace por venganza, ya escucha la respuesta, tío.
Oh, now the lights go off. Oh, I'm taking off.
Oh, this is...
Venga, lo voy a ver contigo, venga, vamos a ver lo que... Vale.
He's like, oh, maybe they won't do it.
Qué vergüenza, plapa frita, tú eres un mierda de persona.
Now the guy's in bed with a blanket.
Disfruta, disfrútalo, disfruta.
Now he's going... Falls to his knees.
No.
Aw, poor guy.
Why does he keep pulling?
I don't know. And he's like super hot. You know, and he's got 4-inch inseam shorts on.
Which looks weird with shoes on.
He can hear him kissing. And now he's off.
Okay, that's how he broke the rules. He left.
Yeah. So now somehow they have a tracking situation on the beach to track him while he's running already set up.
I love it when the dating reality people try to escape their reality by jumping off set.
Oh, right, jump a fence. Or,
the great moment in The Bachelor when he does that.
Yeah, like you said, somehow there are cameras all along the route for this. I broke the rules and not allowed to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh my God!
Oh yeah, this is Spain, baby. This ain't the U.S. Away. They'll show a rabbit F for sure.
That's such a good edit.
Oh my gosh!
But no, back to Sarah's story though. I think it's interesting because it's like you see the glamour of being on Love Island. Everybody's hot. You know, it's edited well. It's on TV. They don't know about the grind. The backstory, the nitty gritty of being a reality star, which is being at a Raising Cane's in Grand Prairie on a Monday night to fulfill a promotional obligation.
Absolutely, and having
I would be beaten by that.
Oh my God, and they had to do all these. They were basically filming a commercial. It was really smart on Raising Cane's part because they basically lured everyone with the promise of like autographs and selfies, and then all they did was film commercials of these two talking about like I love the sauce and I love and it was like feed her a chicken finger, and
what a world.
What a world.
What a world.
The Dumb Zone presents Today in History.
We'll make this brought to you by One Day Doors and Closets.
You need to hear about this one, Sarah.
I do.
It's the buy one, get one free promo on doors at onedaytexas.com/promo30.
Let's be honest, your doors in your home probably suck.
They're all crooked.
Yeah. Old.
They don't close right. Like
paint all chipped up.
Yep.
This is your place then?
Yeah. They will custom make you new doors. You change the doors out and you're like, it's like a new house. So check them out at onedaytexas.com, promo 30.
Let's see. Today's Wednesday, February 12th. We're doing a show on Wednesday. We don't usually. But Jake's going out of town. Where are you going?
Yeah.
Angel Fire in New Mexico.
Where's that?
Near Colorado. It's ski and snowboard trip.
Oh.
I went last year and swore I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Why?
I've been going my whole life, because I was in bad shape.
Oh, well, this is the trip you took right before you went into rehab, right?
No, that was Cleveland.
Our
show.
Okay.
That was a work trip.
Yeah, but even without like really drinking much when I was there in Angel Fire last time, I can't do it anymore. Like I couldn't walk up and back and forth down the mountain. My joints were all terrible shape. It was just not enjoyable because my body was so bad. And now I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. I have one other friend who doesn't drink going.
Interesting. That's good. That's good.
Who doesn't drink because they drank too much? Okay.
I don't have a lot of
just guys
who don't
drink on their own.
Not gay.
So on this day in 1995, Wednesday, February 12th, computer entrepreneur Philip Kramer, who was also the former bassist for the rock group Iron Butterfly, mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've heard this story, I think.
His skeletal remains found by hikers 4 years later.
Wow.
Inside a smashed Ford van 450 feet below Decker Canyon Road in a canyon on the Santa Monica Mountains. I don't remember hearing about this at all, ever, until this morning when I printed this out.
So does a human body decompose in 4 years?
Well, it says they found skeletal remains, but probably animals are eating it up, too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that would help.
On this day in 1998 is the day Chan Gailey became the fourth head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
General timeline is most flesh gone after a year.
Really?
Yeah. Hair and nails 3 to 5. Yeah.
That's faster than I would have thought.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, Dan.
On this day in 2019, El Chapo was convicted in New York of running an industrial-scale smuggling operation. He is now at the federal Supermax prison in Colorado.
Do you know any of the others? Can you reel them off?
Who's there? Like,
yeah,
famous, like John Wayne Gacy or somebody?
Yeah,
somebody that's still alive.
Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, I believe.
Who's that?
The Boston Marathon bomber.
Oh yeah, I didn't know his name.
The hot one.
The hot one.
ADX Florence. That's what it's called. A lot of others.
A
lot of heavy hitters on the line for this Wednesday.
We have a few viewer mail birthdays.
Zacharias Moussaoui. That was a ticket drop.
9/11 guy?
Yeah.
My husband, Mitchell George, has only one birthday wish this year, a shout-out from his beloved Dumb Zone. You are the unofficial third party in our marriage.
Tag me in.
Mitchell loves you so much he dragged you to Tyler last year, threw you a party, baked you a cake with Gary Busey's face on it.
Our guy.
And then committed a minor crime by stealing Jake's vape pen as a keepsake. Did you know that? Were you like, where'd my pen go?
Yeah, you
my vape.
Charge it to the game. Guy was really cool.
So happy birthday to Mitchell George. From Caitlin.
Happy birthday.
Used to be a hot name. Now I think of a decathlon winner. Sorry, Caitlin.
I think of someone who could write a beautiful theme.
Oh, that's true.
For our show. We found out just the other day that lesbians still have to use tampons.
What? Why would you not? Why would you think they don't?
Why did you say that out loud?
I was just something Dan and I were talking about.
Why?
Because somebody left their bag and they were a lesbian and there were tampons in it.
And you were like, oh.
I had to peek inside the bag to see whose
it
bag
was. Yeah. And at first we were like, that can't be hers.
I just saw some tampons. I'm like, okay, well that narrows it down. There's only 2 ladies up here last night.
It was news to me.
Why would you think that a lesbian wouldn't have a period?
Dear Uncle Hotmail,
Not
it is
gonna
my
answer that.
Kurt Schilling birthday.
Oh, cool guy.
I was disappointed last week in Blake when you read my son's birthday, Brenham Luka, and he didn't jump in with the Brenham High School mascot.
There's no way Blake knows that one.
That's probably why he didn't jump in.
Yeah.
You don't know it?
No.
You should do
Cubs.
You should do the Luka.
That's good.
The Luka kid story. Like just how many people in DFW have kids named that?
Oh yeah, we should. And are they going to rename them?
I mean, I know a guy who was a producer at Fox 4. His kid's first name. I have a friend.
Pets. There's so many pets named.
Good friend of mine. He's going on this trip. His son's name is Luka.
Yeah, that is a good story.
Because it's a cool name. Yeah.
How close were you?
That's a free one.
Yeah.
Did you want to name your kid Luka?
Yes.
Yeah.
As close as...
Because he'll be here for 15 years.
Right.
Then he'll grow up and he'll know it's him and you're named after greatness.
Yeah, so I got as close
No one's
as
naming
you
their
could
kid AD.
No. No, they're not.
Anyway, look forward to Jake leading the charge on the 4-9 Lakers-Mavs protest. My leaders are pre-rehab Jake, Blake's book list, and Dan's many nicknames. More Blake book reviews, more Julie, Soroy, and Danny.
Less Sarah Hepola.
He's not saying that.
Okay.
I finished King of Diamonds, Sarah, because you said it's awesome.
Did you like it?
I did, but you read the book to find out who the diamond thief was, and at the end it's like she says, "Who do you think it was?" So it's like you read the entire thing like it's a mystery, but then you find out, oh no, this was more of a
You just give a
biography on
huge
Dallas.
spoiler for anybody who wanted to read
It's a
it.
fantastic, but I'm telling you, don't read it to find out who it was.
But
You read it to learn about Dallas.
Absolutely, but she also basically solves it.
Kind of, but there's no confirmation. It's
right,
just like all
because
these clues.
she's doing it journalistically. I mean, there hasn't been any confirmation of it, but I think she solves it.
Well, you got to understand, I'm used to reading like very dainty novels, and
He reads lady sex novels.
There's an affair and there's a murder, and you always find out who it is in the end. So I was a little disappointed.
It's a little
but
different.
learning about the Dallasites and the underground casinos and the mob, it was awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's such a good secret history of Dallas.
Yeah. So thanks for the rec.
Yeah, thanks for reading it.
Are you bothered by people saying less Sarah Hepola? Or does it come with the territory of being Sarah Hepola?
I think it yeah, I think at first it kind of hurt my feelings. But then
because it will inspire the others then will feel obligated to say more Sarah. So
because everybody wants to be loved. And I always love my time with y'all. So I want your listeners to be like, "Oh, that's cool. She was on there." And so when you leave and it's like less of that, it's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, what's wrong with you? How do you let that bother you? It seems like you're maybe drawing a little too much from this. It's literally saying I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Anyway, this
I've
is
been through
from
it.
Justin Terry, who says, "I'd love to hear the full original no puppet audio."
Y'all played that for me once.
Yeah.
The original?
Yeah.
It's super
The original
cool.
from Trump and Hillary?
No, from Jake.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
And when we played it last time, I was probably like, awesome. This is super cool, man.
I
really
actually-
struggling with addiction.
Between you and me, I actually was uncomfortable because I was like, that is...
Yeah.
I was like a little bit worried about you at the time.
Well, I had to listen to it and still do every day. So you just be reminded of it.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't give a fuck.
I don't even remember that audio. What did it sound
They're
like?
putting the chains
You
down.
thought maybe
No
you'd be
use
like,
for
oh,
them.
it seems to bother
Rest
him.
of
I
this
won't do
game.
it.
Holy Fade Des Bryant. Scrambling around, finding men.
Yes! Cowboys win! Cowboys win! Cowboys win! Yes!
You're the puppet! You're the puppet!
Puppet, you f***ing puppet!
He's
you
the
You think TC has the original with no beeps?
Oh, yeah.
You puppet!
I think it's about time we got
Puppets.
that. Don't you?
Sure. It's available.
No puppet. No puppet. Spalding!
Fuck yeah.
Spalding! Holy.
Merry Christmas, Philadelphia.
Merry Christmas, Eagles.
Eagles! 3-0!
That guy doesn't drink.
Romo, I don't even know you. I've never heard of you.
Were you drinking that day?
See what I deal with?
I know.
You know, like trying to explain this to people, like at rehab.
Oh,
or in
my God.
Like in group
What,
therapy
dealing with
sessions.
me?
I would love to
I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's like they play me fucked up every day, and I have to like listen to it, and they're like, why don't you change jobs? It
Yeah.
seriously, every group therapy I've ever been in, or every therapist I've talked to, is like, it's pretty clear you need a different job. I'm like, okay, so that's the one thing that's not really on the table. But everyone you talk to is like, it seems very clear.
And they're probably like, that is abuse, Jake.
Like you need more supportive people.
But the
around
problem is, then they say it, and I'm like, I reflexively am like, y'all are pussies. Like I start defending Dan and Blake.
I know.
I'm like,
I know.
whatever.
This is your.
You just don't get them,
that
okay?
Stockholm syndrome. Like
fun.
you have to
It's fun
defend
here.
your captors.
Yeah.
You know. What's up, effers? It is my brother Calvin's Dennis Eckersley birthday. He'd like a shout out from the gayest goats ever. Keep jackin' Scrows. Day 2 DF Trick Ruiz.
Do females? We have a new segment we're doing called Bad Beats, but it's not about gambling.
Okay.
It's about uncomfortable, bad JO situations. Girls don't even worry about
self-pleasuring.
Yeah.
Oh,
like your mom walks in, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Girls don't even really worry about that, do they? Ever?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'll tell you one thing is that if you have a vibrator or you travel with a vibrator, that is
TSA.
the TSA
Yeah.
situation.
I had an electric razor go off in my
Mm.
bag one time, and I was like, "No, I promise."
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Just your vibrating handbag.
Yep.
And dear ventriloquist of the vulva.
Wow.
Today is the 37th birthday of my buddy Cody Coughlin. You know him as the lawyer who brought you squatty potties in November.
They're very nice.
Do you guys use that?
I do.
My brother does too. What's going on?
His leaders are the guy who had his 12-year-old brother pee in a cup to pass a drug test.
Legend.
Mm-hmm.
The Pirate House Backyard Bar.
Also.
And Dan's brother texting their mom happy birthday at 12:15 a.m.
He's a good son.
Hope y'all are hanging in there on day 13 AL. From Bill. The guy whose wife made the Bucky peed.
Oh, nice.
Heck yeah.
Have you seen the Bucky peed?
No.
You remember the movie Human Centipede?
Oh my god.
His wife is an actual
my
surgeon.
Yeah.
God.
And this is surgical, like this is
That's a one of one.
sewed together.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Professionally done.
That's amazing. I'm speechless. Can I go back to how that person greeted you? He called somebody the ventriloquist of the vulva.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
I think it means you're down there talking to it, making it talk.
Like you're talking for the vulva?
I make it talk, bro.
Yeah.
I make it sing.
Make it sing. Make that.
Oh, okay. Okay. I get it now.
You know Dan for 2 minutes.
And you know.
This is a guy who makes that thing sing.
I'm down there at a moment's notice. Other birthdays. Derek Lively is 21.
Such a baby.
Sorry, Derek.
Such a young pup. I wish he could get traded to the Lakers.
Josh Young, 27.
Dang. It's old.
It is old.
Big year coming up, boys.
2 years older than Luka.
Remember how Cooperstein told us that he'll never be anything because he's always getting hurt? And people reminded him that he got hurt by standing in the batter's box?
Yeah, he got drilled with a baseball.
I think he still argued, though, right?
Yeah, and Cooperstein's like, hey, look, bad luck just follows players around.
Like their new center.
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray, 37.
Spray tan.
Lenny Randle, 76.
Help me.
He's the guy that beat up his old man manager, Frank Lucchese.
Oh, okay.
Back in the 70s? Rangers. RG3, 35. He's online.
Very weird career.
Larry Nance, 66.
Cleveland.
Cavalier great. When I was a kid. The human pogo stick. Won the dunk contest.
A moniker that was taken over by Ray J.
Doug Deacon, 76. Was a Browns lineman who was their color commentator, and I used to see him at a Bill Belichick press conference standing in the back with an unlit cigar in his mouth and a big wad of chew in his mouth as well, like both at the same time.
Lenny Randle also started the fight in Cleveland, right?
Is he the guy that did that?
Yeah. Bunted and hit the pitcher?
Yeah, the week before the nickel beer night. Yes, he bunted down the first base line and then ran the pitcher over when he went to field it.
That was very well executed.
Almost a Cowboy, Paxton Lynch, 31.
Good God. I think he does games now. Like when I would go to the list of find out where Ted Emmerich or Mike Cousins was going to be, I'm like, holy shit, Paxton Lynch.
Christina Ricci is 45.
You know,
got to be on Jake's
It's
list.
going to seem weird because she's a little thinner than I would prefer, but
she's crazy.
I really always had a thing for her. She seemed crazy. There are definitely a few relationships I've had in my life that are direct results of the existence of Christina Ricci.
Why?
I don't know. There's just something kind of kooky about it, you know? Like, hell, I don't know. Why all the dogs your mom have 3 legs. This is weird, but I like it here.
Arsenio Hall, 69.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sarah, these guys know this, but at the house I lived at in college, we had a hallway that connected one half of the house to the other. There was a laundry machine in it. And it really wasn't for anything other than maybe go up there and fire up a doob. And we dubbed it Arsenio Hall. And purchased a large picture of Arsenio Hall and hung it there.
It's cute.
It was.
Michael McDonald is 73.
Michael McDonald. Fantastic live.
Yacht Rock guy. He's heavy in that Yacht Rock documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad and I went and saw the Doobie Brothers, you know. He's with them. He's with Steely Dan. And it was kind of all 3 of them. Michael McDonald's just up there for 3 hours. Kind of just flat out awesome, to be honest with you. Just a fun guy.
Gucci Mane, 45.
Wow. Burr. Landry, big Gucci guy.
Josh Brolin, 57.
Wow.
President Bush.
Yeah.
And author Judy Blume is 87.
Whoa.
Don't really know. I know that the girls in high school were into her.
I was so into her.
But
I was obsessed with those books.
She's probably on the list of people they're banning now, right? Because
she's always
about
been
periods and
She's
stuff.
always been.
Okay.
So she wrote a book called Forever, which in the 80s was being banned because it had sex. So of course that was the first one you had to read.
Oh my gosh. If a book is banned, if you're told as a teenager you're not allowed to, like, that's what you should do with.
Exactly. You go straight to it.
With whatever, Grapes of Wrath. There's something that's on your reading list. They should be like, you're not allowed to read this one, but you can read it, and then you'll go read that.
Mm-hmm. Like, boy, this
Why was this
Spartacus
banned?
is very boring.
Yeah.
No, I was a big Judy Blume guy.
Oh, you were?
That's how I learned about
he's so in touch
ladies,
with the female.
the vulva from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
A classic book.
That was pretty much the only... I mean, maybe it's different now, but there wasn't a lot of big sex talks going on with parents and kids. And so you had to read Judy Blume to figure some stuff out.
I think I might have learned about men's masturbation from her book. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, there's one in there. There's one in the list.
I think it's called Then Again, Maybe I Won't.
It's about jerking it?
Well, I don't think it's about that.
It just features it.
It features it.
It would have stuff like the kid that got a boner in class, but had to walk up to the chalkboard and like, oh man.
I was like, wow, that's happening?
That actually did happen to me. Born on this day, now dead, Bill Russell. Chris McCandless, the subject of the book Into the Wild.
Yeah, okay.
Great book.
Mm-hmm.
James Smathers, who invented the electric typewriter and was born in Texas. Abraham Lincoln, who was born in a log cabin, right? Don't we always hear that about Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, I've always assumed, yeah.
Are they doing away with the penny? Is the penny gone?
I think I've been hearing that for a long time.
No, the big man.
He likes the
I
penny?
think he signed. No, he signed it.
He's against it.
Oh.
He's
okay.
anti-penny. I actually heard, who's your podcast buddy that he actually interviewed us once?
Mike Pesca.
Mike Pesca.
Mike Pesca was doing a little bit on that the other day. He's so smart. I love Mike
Oh my
Pesca.
God, I love him.
I'm like, why were we ever on this show?
He loves you guys.
Oh, we got to have him on.
Oh my God, he's so smart.
But he was talking about the fact that why does it, which I thought was a great point. Like he's not on board with Trump, but he's like, I am on board with this. Like I've been talking about it for years. He doesn't like the penny, and apparently the penny actually costs more than twice
to make than it's
worth. Like the cost of producing 1 penny costs like 3 cents. Like so, why? And we don't want it anyway. Anyway, Mike Pesca has been hitting this penny thing for years, and he played a couple of interview clips. Like he had Buttigieg on like 5 years ago and asked him about the penny, and Buttigieg's like, I don't know. Like anybody he has on was like, we can't really. There's a lot of red tape to go through for that, and they're worried about their constituents, and is there a copper mine in my state or something?
Yeah, I
and,
guess I could see that.
But so they're all, and then Trump's just like, hey, pennies suck.
Yeah.
We don't want a penny.
Done.
And he's like, Pesca's question is, why does it take a guy like this who is swinging a wild axe left and right to actually like hit one that's an obvious, like if there are obvious things that should be done away with, isn't this is the positive side of a guy like Trump?
Yeah.
Can just come in and go, stop these norms that we just all have to dance around. I don't know if we should eradicate the penny or not. Well, let's have another meeting on it. Well, let's do a study. How about no, we're just not going to have it because I see that it's bad.
Yes, of course. The problem is that when you do that to everything.
Well, no, he does realize that, but he's like, why does it take a guy like this for a clearly obvious thing that should be eradicated to get eradicated? And isn't that maybe an indication that maybe this whole system does need a little bit of reform? Anyway, Mike Pesca, smart guy. Born on this day, now dead, also Charles Darwin, who invented evolution. Before that ever existed. Dead on this day, still dead, I'll give you one. Tom Landry.
Ooh.
Died on this day in the year 2000.
Huh.
Only smart decision Jerry ever made.
That's rough.
And that was Today in History.
Getting that old F out of there.
So, Sarah, where can people find you, your fine work? Dallas Morning News?
Yeah, Dallas Morning News are at the high-profile column. You can also listen to my podcast, Smoke 'em If You Got 'em, which I do with Nancy Rommelman. And
what did I hear y'all talking about?
What?
There was something I heard y'all talking about I wanted to comment on, but...
Was it Baby Girl, female submission?
Oh, it was... well, I'm interested in that. You watched the Trans Cartel musical.
Oh, we watched...
we haven't seen it yet. We played a clip.
The Trans Cartel musical.
Penis or vagina. Penis to vagina.
It's that is one of the wildest musical numbers in any movie.
We just watched that part.
The movie is actually pretty good. What's weird, and I watched it, and when it got to that one part you're talking about, I was like, I got to tap out of this movie. I can't watch it. But then I kept watching it. It was kind of interesting. So I made Nancy watch it, and then she ended up really liking it. I think it's interesting. I don't think it should be up for all the Oscars. I don't think it should be. It shouldn't be getting all the backlash. I think it's sort of amazing that this woman that they held up is sort of like progressive hero. Then they dug out all these tweets.
That's always good.
I mean, it's just like, whatever.
They're calling it Gulf of America now, folks.
Are you going to call it that?
Adios, mofo.
We gotta go before this becomes a zoo.
Thank you for watching my video. Subscribe and type for my name if you want to watch more of my videos.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings. Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread. To get your butter spread all on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my mac and cheese. Cause when you're at KFC, you got that special sauce to stir my curiosity. Just give me a 5-piece meal, oh what a deal. A big old box, it's all for me. You know I'll take coleslaw on the side. I could tell you wanted to try the potato wedges. Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Get your honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Taste the biscuit.